The Runaway Vixen. She was being chased, broke into the man's box and became his antidote. After a night of indulgence, she stabbed the dagger straight into the man's chest without blinking, and fled away. Unexpectedly, the man became addicted, chased her to Jiangcheng, and tried every means to seduce her to sink with him. Pei Xichi, what do you like about me? Charming eyes, pretty nose, pink lips, soft waist, especially when you are under me. Chapter 001, I Only Want You. A dark alley on the border of Country M. Chase her. Don't let her get away. Even though it was already midnight, the alley drowned in a haze of debauchery and decadence remained brightly lit, neon lights flickering like day. At that moment, a dozen men in black were chasing after a slender young woman. Damn it. Courting death. Seeing that her pursuers showed no signs of giving up, the girl suddenly stopped and gripped a metal rod over a meter long in her hand. Hand over the goods. In the blink of an eye, the thugs had surrounded her. You want it? Come and get it. Her face was hidden under the hood of a black sweatshirt, but her voice was cold enough to make one's blood run cold. Blood streamed from her arm. She'd been shot. She had to finish this fast. You, go search her. The scar-faced leader ordered the blonde-haired man beside him. The blonde hesitated. This woman was a maniac fighting like she had nothing to lose. Hurry. Forced to obey, he stepped forward, but before he could get close, the girl swung the iron rod straight into the back of his head. Get her? The leader shouted in panic. The girl's eyes were filled with madness, and her attacks showed no mercy. But they had been chasing her for over 3 hours. Her stamina was wearing thin. After knocking down a man over 6 feet tall with a single strike, she kicked another hard in the groin. The man collapsed, howling in agony. Knowing she couldn't keep this up, she turned and darted into another alley. She had lost too much blood. Her body was nearing its limit. But no matter what, she couldn't let them get what she was carrying. Before the men caught up, she tossed away the iron rod and pulled off her hoodie. Her black camisole clung to her, revealing a figure that could make anyone lose control. As she walked swiftly forward, she yanked out her hair tie and shook her head. Long, silky black hair spilled over her shoulders like a waterfall. Then she slipped into the most infamous nightclub in the alley, Temptation. The men chased after her but stopped outside. None of them dared to enter. Despite being just a nightclub, the boss behind Temptation was someone they couldn't afford to provoke. Rumor had it, even the leaders of Country M had to show him respect. What now? Some of you stay outside. The rest of you come with me. Even Temptation has to give Brother Kang some face. Inside, the nightclub was still throbbing with music and revelry. No one noticed the girl slipping in. Soon, the scar-faced man entered with a few others. The girl quickly shoved open a private room door and darted inside. The lights were off. Leaning against the door, Jiangcheng could barely stand. After 3 hours of relentless fighting, she was utterly drained. Yet the next second, her instinct screamed danger. She dodged to the side too late. A tall man pinned her wrists above her head with one hand. Let go. Jiangcheng snapped. Who told you to come here? Even exhausted, she could sense this man was extremely dangerous. I'm sorry, sir. I thought this room was empty. I'll leave now. This wasn't the time to fight. She softened her tone. But the man's grip didn't loosen. Sir, I didn't know you were here. You're hurting me. Her breath caressed his ear, igniting the fire he had tried so hard to suppress. Get out. In the dark, she couldn't see his expression, but something in his voice told Jiangcheng something was off. Had he been drugged? Well, this was Temptation. Anything could happen here. All Jiangcheng wanted now was to escape this dangerous man. She reached for the door. And saw Scarface outside. She had no choice but to close it again. You're still here? He'd given her a chance. If anything happened now, she had only herself to blame. Boss, there's a sound inside. Scarface's voice came from outside. They were about to break in. In a split second, Jiangcheng pinned the man against the wall and pressed her lips to his. MMPH. The man was stunned. This crazy woman had just kissed him. Pressing herself against him, Jiangcheng whispered, "Help me. They are after me." Why should I? His voice was completely indifferent. A knife pressed against his chest. He smirked. This woman had guts, daring to threaten him. Just then, the door burst open. The girl remained in the man's embrace, her knife pressed tightly against him. Scarface and the others rushed in only to freeze at the sight. They could only see her back, but even that was enough to make their blood boil. The curve of her shoulder blades, the waterfall of black hair over porcelain skin. Get lost. The man wrapped his arm around Jiangcheng's slender waist. Her body was soft, deceptively fragile. It made him want to break her. Hearing the commotion, Temptation's manager hurried over. Mr. Kai, I apologize. I'll have them removed immediately. Cold sweat beaded the manager's forehead. Everyone knew Mr. Kai hated women touching him. Yet this woman was hugging him? The manager ordered the guards to drag the intruders out. But before they could reach her, one glare from Mr. Kai stopped them in their tracks. Throw these men out, he said coldly. Yes, Mr. Kai. Temptation's guards sprang into action. Mr. Kai, we're with Brother Kang, Scarface tried to plead. Brother Kang? Who the hell is that? Toss them. Scarface tried to resist, but Temptation's guards weren't ordinary bouncers. They pulled out weapons and aimed them at the intruders. Within moments, the thugs were thrown out. The manager quietly closed the door. Seeing them gone, Jiangcheng let out a sigh of relief. She was completely spent. Thank you, she murmured. Whatever else, this man had helped her. But the next second, the knife in her hand was yanked away effortlessly. I helped you. Shouldn't you return the favor? The man leaned in, biting her ear. What kind of favor? You kissed me just now, didn't you? To make things fair, I should kiss you back. Mr. Kai, you can have any woman you want. I'll go get someone for you right now. Jiangcheng tried to push him away, to flee this dangerous man. But no matter how hard she tried, she couldn't move him. Mr. Kai, you. I only want you. His voice was low, husky. That kiss, her lips, her body, he wanted more. 002 again and again, without restraint. Earlier, he had already ordered the manager to throw out the woman who had drugged him. No trace of sentimentality. But now, he no longer wanted to suppress his desires. This woman was exactly his type. Just holding her slender waist made him lose all control. I don't care who you are, I want you. In the darkness, Jiangcheng rolled her eyes. I'm afraid you can't afford me. Even though she was utterly exhausted, Jiangcheng had no intention of surrendering. However, in the next moment, the man pressed down hard on her wound. Millimeter. Jiangcheng cried out in pain. This man was truly vile. He had deliberately pressed on her injury. His solid, burning hot body pressed tightly against hers. I gave you a chance to leave. You chose to stay. Now, don't blame me. Do you have a death wish? Jiangcheng wanted to tear him apart, but the man gave her no chance to resist. Their bodies pressed tightly together. The man's body had long reacted. Completely worn out, Jiangcheng was no match for him. Again and again, he showed no sign of stopping. The girl's body held a fatal allure for him. It wasn't until the break of dawn that the man finally released her. He placed a kiss on the corner of her lips. Be good. Stay with me from now on. He had taken her first time. Naturally, he would take responsibility. Besides, even though it was their first meeting, he found himself quite interested in this girl. Jiangcheng said nothing. She simply turned away from him. Looking at her beautiful back, the man felt his desire rise again. Just as he leaned toward her once more, Jiangcheng shoved him away. It hurts. Remembering it was her first time, he suppressed his urges. Still, he pulled her into his arms. Only when he fell asleep did Jiangcheng open her beautiful eyes. She had never slept. She picked up her clothes, got dressed, grabbed the dagger from the floor, and in one swift motion, stabbed the man directly in the heart. You. The man's eyes flew open. He looked at her in disbelief. He had never trusted anyone. This was the first time he had shown interest in a girl, even considering taking her home with him. Yet he never expected that she would give him a fatal stab. You brought this on yourself. Don't blame me. Jiangcheng had never considered herself a good person. A girl who survived on the border of country M couldn't he possibly be kind. He took her first time, and she gave him a fatal wound. Now they were even. She walked out of the private room, found the manager, and drove off in Mr. Kai's Cullinan, swaggering as she left. Inside, the man turned on the lights. On the white sofa, there was her blood and his. The manager sensed something was wrong and rushed in, only to see Mr. Kai bleeding from the chest. Mr. Kai? Who did this to you? Was it that girl? The manager was stunned. This man was a powerful figure even in Country M, yet a mere girl had injured him like this? That was near the heart. Still not calling a doctor. The girl had clearly wanted him dead. Fortunately, his heart wasn't in the usual place, that's the only reason he wasn't dead. The doctors from Temptation arrived quickly and tended to Pei Xichi's wound. Find her. Bring that girl to me, don't harm her. Pei Xichi's eyes gleamed with bloodthirsty light. In his hand, he gently rubbed a bracelet the girl had left behind. Inside was engraved a single character, Li. The manager immediately dispatched people to search for her. With Mr. Kai's influence in Country M, they were sure to find her within a day. However, even after scouring the entire border, they couldn't find the daring girl. At that moment, Jiangcheng had already switched cars and crossed into the border of China. There, a group was already waiting. At the front stood a handsome young man, around 27 or 28. Jiangcheng drifted the car into a smooth stop, stepped out, and handed the man a mini USB drive. Coming back with us? The young man asked. She had been in Country M for 5 years, after all. I've handed it over to you. Don't lose it again. This device was crucial to China's entire cybersecurity. Hearing her words, the man nodded seriously. Don't worry. I'll protect it with my life. Jiangcheng nodded. The young man stood at attention and gave her a military salute. Behind him, a dozen other young men did the same in perfect unison. Go on back. Jiangcheng waved casually and turned to leave. That night, she returned to the sanatorium where her mother was staying. Seeing her, her mother suddenly went into a frenzy. Li, come to Mama. There are bad people. Don't be afraid. Mama will protect you. Ji Minghan, I didn't cheat, I was framed. I didn't kill anyone. I'm not crazy, don't touch me. I'm not mentally ill. I'm the Gu family's heiressa. Jiangcheng held her mother tightly, stopping her from hurting herself. Her mother was 1.68 meters tall but weighed less than 80 pounds skin and bones. Heartbreaking. Mama, it's me, Li, don't be afraid. Don't worry. I won't let any of those who hurt us get away with it. Jiangcheng's beautiful eyes brimmed with deep, burning hatred. 5 years ago, she and her mother were betrayed by the people they trusted most, becoming the laughingstock of Jiangcheng. The mistress and her daughter had taken over everything that belonged to them. Now, 5 years later, it was time to take it all back. After coaxing her mother to sleep, Jiangcheng returned to her rental. She hadn't even showered after rushing to deliver the USB. Stripping off all her clothes, she took a hot shower in the bathroom. Afterward, she retrieved the first aid kit to dress her wounds. Thinking of that man from last night, Jiangcheng's eyes flared with annoyance. That man acted like he had never touched a woman again and again, completely out of control. Even now, she was still sore and swollen down there. She really regretted not stabbing him a few more times. But that strike had landed right near his heart. There was a 90% chance he was already dead. Jiangcheng packed her things and headed to the airport, boarding a flight to Jiangcheng. The moment she landed, her phone rang. Li, I'm waiting at exit T2. Are you out yet? I'm still waiting for my luggage. Don't come in. I'll be right out. Seeing her suitcase, Jiangcheng bent down to pick it up. Before she could turn around, someone grabbed her arm. Jiangcheng? Is it really you? Jiangcheng frowned and looked at the woman holding her arm. Let go. Her voice was cold. Seeing it was really Jiangcheng, Xiaxiqi's eyes filled with contempt. Jiangcheng, you come back now of all times just before my brother and Qingyu's engagement. What, still not over him? 5 years ago, you shamelessly clung to my brother like a leech. Weren't you just 15? Already so disgraceful. But then again, your mom brought men home to sleep with. Of course you learned how to seduce men early. I heard you and your mom even shared the same man. People were already starting to gather in the airport. Xiaxiqi, I hadn't even planned to settle scores with you, but you came to me. 5 years ago, this second daughter of the Xie family had spread countless rumors about her and her mother. Ji Qingli twisted her arm with one swift move. A loud crack was followed by a pig-like scream from Xie Xichi. "Oh! What are you doing? Let go! My arm's broken." When it comes to seducing men, no one can compare to Miss second daughter of the Xie family. "Didn't you sleep with your family's driver's son? I've still got photos. You think the reporters in Jiangcheng wouldn't be interested?" Xie Xichi's face turned pale instantly. How did she know that? That was just a stupid mistake she made in her youth. Now, she had finally caught the attention of the powerful Pei family in the capital. If they found out, would this marriage still stand? Apologize, or else. 003 Kick the evil butler. Xie Xichi's face looked extremely ugly. She had never expected that Ji Qingli, who had allowed herself to be bullied in the past, would be so difficult to deal with now. Sorry. In order to save the Xie family's reputation, Xie Xichi apologized reluctantly. I can't hear you. You? In the entire Jiangcheng, no one dared to treat her like this. Xie Xichi was so angry that her eyes turned red. There were many people watching, but no one spoke a word for her. I'm sorry. I was wrong. Miss Xie, next time you meet me, remember to greet me respectfully, otherwise you will bear the consequences. Xie Xichi was almost mad. This bitch actually dared to threaten her. However, she will not be able to be proud for long. Soon, she will know the consequences of offending the second young lady of the Xie family. When I dragged my suitcase to the T2 exit, I saw my good friend Sang Ning waiting there. Seeing her coming, Sang Ning rushed over and hugged her. Lily, you're finally back. By the way, did you know that couple is getting engaged tomorrow? Are you here to steal their wedding? You think too much. I just came back to take back everything that belongs to me. Ji Qingli said lightly. Sang Ning put his arms around Ji Qingli's soft waist and the two walked out together. When they arrived at where Sang Ning parked his car, Sang Ning opened the trunk and personally helped her put the luggage in the trunk. Ji Qingli opened the passenger door and got in the car. After Sang Ning put away the suitcase, he also got in. Come stay at my house tonight. I miss you so much. No, go directly to Ji's house. And Xinan and Qingyu have already moved to Ji's house. Are you sure you want to go back? Sang Ning was very worried about her. I'm sure. Let's go. Don't worry about me. You should worry about those who have hurt my mother and me. Ji Qingli hasn't arrived at the Ji family yet. Ji Qingyu received a call from Xie Xichi. After knowing that Ji Qingli actually came back at this time, she couldn't help but frown. What's wrong? Seeing her frown, her mother Anxin couldn't help but ask. Ji Qingli is back. Ji Qingyu handed the phone to the servant next to her. What? Why is she back at this time? But she came back just in time. It's time for her to return the shares she held. And Shin's eyes were full of calculation. That's right. This time, I will make sure she can never get up again. Ji Qingyu said coldly. Ji Qingyu took off her dress. Go straight to find Father Ji Minghan. After knowing that Ji Qingli dared to touch Xie Xichi, Ji Minghan was furious. Wait for her to come back and take her directly to the Xie family. Make her kowtow to second Miss Xie and admit her fault. Dad, my uncle and aunt are really angry. I'm worried that this will affect the relationship between our two families. Don't worry. Sinan loves you so much, he will definitely help you. Besides, this is Ji Qingli's fault, it has nothing to do with you. At this moment, the sound of a sports car was heard outside the villa. Not long after, Ji Qingli, dressed in black clothes and black pants, walked in pulling a suitcase. Oh, they are all here. Ji Qingli pushed the suitcase into the living room and sat down on the sofa. Over there, Ji Minghan was sitting on the sofa, with Anshin and Ji Qingyu standing on both sides of him. Seeing Ji Qingli being so arrogant, Ji Minghan became furious. Who asked you to come back? How dare you come back? Ji Qingli, you. Stop. Before Ji Minghan could finish his words, Ji Qingli interrupted him directly. You even have the nerve to bring back the mistress and her daughter. Compared to you, everything I have done is not worth mentioning. Ji Qingli glanced at Anshin and Ji Qingyu indifferently. Ji Qingli, I think you haven't learned your lesson yet, get back to the border now and don't embarrass yourself here. Ji Qingli looks very much like her mother, and whenever he sees her, he will think of that disgusting woman. The Xie family likes Qingyu very much. Qingyu and Xie Xinan are going to get engaged tomorrow, and there can't be any mistakes. Go away? I won't. Otherwise, as a father, you can go away and show me. Ji Qingli's beautiful eyes were full of sharpness. Seeing how angry they were, the bloodthirsty factor in her body continued to ferment. Yu Ji Minghan was so angry that his whole body was shaking. Butler, throw her things out. The housekeeper came over and wanted to throw Ji Qingli's luggage out. Just try touching it. Ji Qingli's voice was clear and cold. Miss, please don't make things difficult for us. Now, it is Mr. Ji who pays him. Ji Qingli was still sitting there, but her eyes were full of mockery. You also know that I am the eldest daughter of this family. Don't you forget, what is the surname of this family? Who is Ji Minghan? If it weren't for her mother, he, Ji Minghan, would be nothing more than a country bumpkin. Hearing this, Ji Minghan became even more furious. He made his fortune with the help of his first wife, but he couldn't bear to hear anyone say that. Throw it out to me. The butler naturally listened to Ji Minghan and immediately went over to pull Ji Qingli's luggage. Ji Qingli walked over and kicked the butler in the heart, and the butler was kicked to the ground. Miss, how could you do this to me? I have been in this family for more than 20 years, and I raised you with all my heart and soul. Sir, you must make the decision for me. Since I came to the Ji family, I have always been loyal. I'm already old, and I'm still being bullied like this. I might as well die. Ji Qingli, why don't you apologize to the housekeeper? Ji Minghan said angrily. Apologize? Why should I apologize? Butler, if I remember correctly, you are my mother's dowry butler. After 5 years of not seeing you, you don't even remember who your master is. 5 years ago, her mother was driven crazy, but this housekeeper had instigated an added insult to injury. Miss, I? Ji Qingli walked up to him and stepped on the back of his hand. R. The housekeeper had never expected that Ji Qingli would be so crazy and dare to attack in front of so many people. Ji Qingli squatted in front of the housekeeper. Butler, I'm sorry. I've been at the border for 5 years, and my eyesight isn't very good. After Ji Qingli finished speaking, she crushed him hard again before pulling her luggage upstairs. I'm not planning on leaving this time. As for tomorrow's engagement party, I, the eldest daughter of the Ji family, will definitely attend. You can wait and see. Ji Qingli pulled her luggage directly to her original room, however, the room was already occupied by Ji Qingyu. Housekeeper, throw out all the garbage in my room. Ji Qingli came out of the room and gave orders while half leaning on the iron railing. The butler had just been severely reprimanded and now didn't know what to do. I had no choice but to look at Ji Minghan. What's the matter? Butler Wang is old, has a bad memory and is he hard of hearing? Ji Minghan was about to lose his temper when Inshin stopped him. It's just a room. There's no need to get angry. Butler, go pack up Qingyue's things. Inshin had a proper smile on her face. It's good for her to come back at this time, so that she can get her shares. She's just a yellow-haired girl whose hair hasn't even grown out yet. You're still a little naive if you want to fight with her. 0-0 for bleeding. Butler, move faster, I'm tired. Ji Qingli ignored Ji Minghan, stretched lazily, and turned into the room. The housekeeper could only take a few people to clean the room. Replace all the furniture in the room. You only have 1 hour. She thinks things Ji Qingyu has used are dirty. Miss, it's late at night. Butler Wang, have you forgotten your last name again? Ji Qingli moved her wrist. Butler Wang had no choice but to ask someone to prepare it immediately. 2 hours had passed by the time everything was ready. After tormenting these bitches for a whole night, Ji Qingli slept very soundly that night. Mom, do you really want Ji Qingli to attend my and Sainan's engagement party tomorrow? She behaved very well in front of Ji Minghan, however, she still felt uncomfortable when she thought about Ji Qingli appearing at her engagement party. She had finally been able to be together with Xie Xinan, and now that the Xie family had teamed up with the Pei family in the imperial capital, their fortunes would only rise to a higher level in the future. We can't let that bitch Ji Qingli ruin it. It's not that simple not to want her to show up. You mean? Okay, just forget about it. I make sure you don't see her at the engagement party tomorrow. Mom, I know you're the best to me. There are many things that she doesn't need to do anything, her mother will arrange everything for her. Ji Qingli is just like her useless mother. In the past, they were able to drive her and her daughter out of the Ji family, but now, it is even more impossible to let them come back. And this time, Ji Qingli will lose even more miserably than last time. When Ji Qingli woke up, it was already 11 o'clock in the morning. After sleeping for more than 10 hours, I felt refreshed. She deliberately came down from upstairs dressed in black. Seeing Ji Qingli in black, Ji Minghan's face turned ugly. Today is a good day for Qingyu and Xinun to get engaged. What do you mean by wearing all black? Ji Qingli was too lazy to pay attention to her. Butler, breakfast. What time is it now? How dare you eat until this hour? Ji Minghan just didn't like her, especially her eyes, which were exactly the same as her mother's and made people feel uncomfortable. As a live-in son-in-law, what qualifications do you have to say this? Butler, go prepare breakfast and don't let me say it a second time. Ji Qingli, are you trying to piss me off to death? Hearing the noise in the living room, and Xin, dressed in a gorgeous dress, came down from upstairs. Minghan, don't be angry. Qingli is still young and doesn't he understand much. Qingli, your father is not in good health, please don't make him angry. By the way, I have prepared a dress for you for the engagement party. As he said this, he asked the servant to bring out the dress. I didn't know you would come back. This dress was prepared for Qingyu. She only wore it once. You shouldn't mind it, right? Why should she care? It's good enough that she has something to wear. Didn't you see the clothes she's wearing? It's embarrassing. Ji Minghan just couldn't stand the way Ji Qingli was. Ji Qingli sneered and went over to pick up the dress from the servant's hand. She took out a lighter from her pocket and directly lit the sky blue dress. Ji Qingli, what are you doing? Do you know how much this dress costs? Ji Minghan only felt a throbbing pain in his head. Didn't Ji Qingyu want this dress anymore? Shouldn't things that are no longer needed be burned? Ji Qingli looked at the housekeeper beside her. Butler Wang, don't you want this job anymore? Where's breakfast? Seeing her lawless behavior, the housekeeper was angry but dared not say anything, so he immediately had breakfast delivered. Qingli, I know you don't like things that have been used by others, but we are going to attend the engagement party soon. Do you have a dress? Over the years, Ji Minghan has not given a penny to Ji Qingli and her daughter. Just look at the rags she is wearing, and you can tell that she can't afford a dress. I think this outfit is quite suitable for me. It just so happens that I have to attend a funeral soon. What do you think of the date? Today seems to be a good day for a funeral. Do you dare to try it dressed like this? Ji Minghan was really about to die of anger. What can I do? I don't like wearing clothes that have been worn by others. And my dear father, have you forgotten? After you threw me and my mother to country M, you never gave us a penny. Okay, go buy yourself a dress and don't embarrass our Ji family. Today, in Jiangcheng, the Ji family is also a wealthy family, and we can't let her go out and embarrass herself. After cheating her out of her shares, I'll just throw her to the border to fend for herself. Ji Qingli took the black card from Ji Minghan's hand with a sarcastic smile on her face. My dear father, the money you used to support your mistress and her daughter now all comes from my mother. When we have time, we will settle the account carefully. Don't even think about losing a penny. After Ji Qingli finished speaking, she turned around and went to have breakfast without even looking at Ji Minghan, whose face was turning blue with anger. After breakfast, Ji Qingli received a call from Sang Ning. After hanging up the phone, she turned around and prepared to go out. Seeing her arrogant look, Ji Minghan picked up the ashtray on the coffee table and threw it directly at her. Throw it at the back of the head. Seeing this, Anshin felt relieved. Ji Qingli is just as annoying as her mother, and always looks superior. So what about the eldest daughter of the Jiu family? It was she who brought him to ruin. And this arrogant Ji Qingli will soon become a lunatic despised by everyone like her mother, and be thrown to the border where people are eaten without leaving any bones. However, it was as if Ji Qingli had eyes on her back. When everyone was expecting her to bleed, she turned around quickly and kicked the ashtray that was flying towards her. She kicked with such force that the ashtray changed direction and hit Ji Minghan's nose directly. Ji Minghan never expected that the ashtray he threw out would suddenly change direction and hit him on the bridge of the nose with lightning speed. Ji Minghan immediately covered his nose. Ji Qingli. However, before he could curse, Ji Minghen's nose was already bleeding profusely. Ji Qingli looked at him coldly. Ji Minghan, you are not only a gigolo, but you also like to attack people. I don't know what my mother saw in you back then. After saying that, he didn't even bother to look at Ji Minghen's bleeding nose and just left. The Ji family fell into chaos. Sang Ning's sports car stopped outside the Ji family's villa, and she could hear Ji Minghen's roar even from inside the car. What did you do? Sang Ning asked with excitement and curiosity. Nothing, let's go. Thinking of Ji Minghen's bloody face, Ji Qingli felt better. Sanning drove directly to her own clothing studio. I have prepared all the battle robes for you for today's engagement party. This red backless dress was designed and made by Sang Ning herself, stitch by stitch, without ever having anyone else do it. Yeah, it looks good. Ji Qingli gave a thumbs up. Sunning is definitely a very talented designer. Tonight, let's blow up the place. When Sang Ning thought of Ji Qingyu's terribly angry expression, he couldn't wait any longer. It's still early. Ji Qingli took out her cell phone from her pocket and called the nursing home. After hanging up the phone, she began to daydream. Seeing her like this, Sang Ning came over and hugged her. Lily, godmother will definitely get better. Ji Qingli nodded. Yes, my mother will definitely get better. Thinking of what happened to her mother made her more determined to destroy everything. 005 engagement banquet stuns everyone. Ji Qingyu and Xie Xinan's engagement party was held at the Yunguang Hotel in Jiangcheng. The engagement party of the Ji family and the Xie family brought together 90% of the wealthy families in Jiangcheng. At this time, the Jiangcheng rich second-generation group was very lively. I heard Ji Qingli is back. It's been 5 years. I wonder what happened to the arrogant eldest daughter of the Ji family. What can I do? In that border area where people are eaten without leaving any bones, Ji Qingli looks so sexy, she must be kept by someone. Didn't a friend of mine go to the border before? He saw Ji Qingli being raped by a man in his 50s. Thinking back, any girl who was close to Xie Xinan was often bullied by Ji Qingli. She deserves what's happening now. Have Ji Qingli and Xie Xinan ever been together? No, I have never liked Ji Qingli. In the group, Xie Xinan, who had never spoken before, spoke. When everyone saw the real protagonist appear, and he was the eldest son of the Xie family, they immediately changed the subject. Yes. How could Xinan possibly fall for a bitch like Ji Qingli? From the beginning to the end, there is only one person I like, and that is Herat. In the group, people immediately started to flatter Xie Xinan and Ji Qingyu, saying that the two were a perfect match. Are you satisfied? Xie Xinan hugged Ji Qingyu in front of him. Qingyu, I have never liked Ji Qingli. Ji Qingyu hooked her arms around Xie Xinan's neck and acted coquettishly in his arms. Xinan, I'm not doubting you, I just don't have confidence. I just love you too much. After all, you two were so close back then. Anyone who marries someone like her will be unlucky. You never know when you will be cuckolded. Xie Xinan used to like Ji Qingli, but now, he only sees it as a shame. What's the point of Ji Qingli being pretty? With such a shameless mother, who is also a psychopath, with such genes, who would dare to marry her? Okay, the engagement party is about to start, so get ready. Xie Xinan kissed Ji Qingyu on the lips before going out to prepare. Looking at the man's tall and majestic back, Ji Qingyu couldn't help but feel moved. After Xie Xinan left, and Shin walked in. Mom, Ji Qingli won't show up, right? Don't worry, she definitely can't come. I heard that people from the Pei family will also be here. With the Pei family as a backer, Sainan will definitely go to the imperial capital to develop in the future. You should seize the opportunity. The Ji family is just a stepping stone for the mother and daughter. I know. In fact, at the beginning, she didn't like Xie Xinan very much. However, since Ji Qingli liked it so much, she would naturally snatch it away. Ji Qingli and Sang Ning changed their clothes and put on makeup. Drive to Xie's house. However, not long after driving out, Ji Qingli discovered something was wrong. A pair of lazy fox eyes narrowed dangerously, and a sneer appeared at the corner of his mouth. Pull over and let me drive. What's wrong? Although he was puzzled, Sanning still did it. Sang Ning parked the car on the side of the road, unbuckled his seatbelt and got out, while Ji Qingli jumped directly from the passenger seat to the driver's seat. After Sang Ning got in the car, she started the car. However, in just a short while, their sports car was surrounded by 4 cars. Lily, do you want to call the police? No need, just hold onto the handrail. Ji Qingli said and started racing. 2 cars tried to block their way, but Ji Qingli stepped on the accelerator to the bottom and drove straight through the middle of the 2 cars. Surrounded by danger, Sang Ning couldn't help but scream. The 4 cars behind refused to give up and one of them was ready to hit the rear of the red sports car. Lily, they want to kill you. And Shin and her daughter were really crazy. If you're scared, just close your eyes. Ji Qingli said jokingly. With you here, I'm not afraid. Ji Qingli is obviously a charming beauty, but when she drives, she is very crazy. Seeing that one of the black cars was trying to stop them in front, she stepped on the accelerator to the bottom and crashed the 2 black cars directly into the guardrail. Seeing this, the other 3 cars wanted to chase, but Ji Qingli didn't give them any chance at all. The 3 cars chasing and blocking Ji Qingli were unable to stop her and were smashed to pieces by Ji Qingli. After taking a look at the 4 cars she had crashed, Ji Qingli made a phone call and asked someone to come and kidnap someone. Presidential suite at Yunguan Hotel. A 1.9-meter tall man came out of the bathroom wrapped in a bath towel. The 2 long legs were strong and powerful. When the bath towel was pulled up, the 8-pack abs of a man were extremely sexy, and the position of the heart was wrapped with bloody gauze. The whole person, from hair to toes, is filled with dignity and temptation. Thinking of the woman who had boldly stabbed him that night, the man's handsome mouth curled up into an evil smile. Little fox, you can't run away. Just seeing the blood-soaked gauze, Pei Xichi felt his lower abdomen tighten, and the extreme pleasure he felt that night once again swept through his limbs. Extreme pain and extreme pleasure, these were the memories that the girl left him. He was already looking forward to meeting the girl. Pei Xichi changed into decent clothes and walked out of the room. Assistant Pei was already waiting outside. Sir, the engagement party is about to begin. Assistant Pei reminded. Is she here? Here I come. Pei Xichi brought. Assistant Pei took the exclusive elevator to the banquet hall of Yunguan Hotel. Pei Xichi found an inconspicuous place to sit down and wait for their pair. As soon as I sat down, I saw the most beautiful girl coming towards me in high heels. That night, in the darkness, he clearly couldn't see her face clearly. However, at this moment, he only took one glance to determine which one in the crowd was her. The backless red dress wrapped tightly around her, making her curvy figure even more attractive. Although it was not a revealing outfit, it easily attracted everyone's attention and made people swallow their saliva unconsciously. Seeing that Ji Qingli had really arrived, the banquet hall, which had been noisy just now, suddenly became quiet. Everyone said that Ji Qingli was back. However, 5 years later, the most beautiful young lady of the Ji family appeared again and still attracted everyone's attention. A pair of beautiful fox eyes glanced around, and a faint smile appeared at the corner of her mouth. Ji Qingli was the well-deserved #1 beauty in Jiangcheng. When he saw her, the happy smile on Ji Qingyue's face could no longer be maintained. Especially after seeing Xie Xinun's unconsciously attracted gaze. He said he didn't like her, however, after seeing Ji Qingli, he forgot her existence. Oh my god, I haven't seen you for 5 years. How come Ji Qingli is more beautiful than before? Yes. With this figure and this skin, she is undoubtedly the most beautiful woman in Jiangcheng. It's time to watch something interesting. Look at Xie Xinun's eyes. If you say that nothing happened 5 years ago, who would believe it? Ji Qingyue's expression is really interesting. Mom. Today's engagement party was not in vain. 2 women are fighting for 1 man. It's going to be a good show to watch. Looking at the expressions of Xie Xinun and Ji Qingyu, Sang Ning felt secretly happy. These 2 bitches. Ji Qingli was also very satisfied with everyone's reaction. The reason she came here today was to tell everyone in Jiangcheng that she, Ji Qingli, was back. Ji Qingli walked towards Xie Xinun and Ji Qingyu step by step. Wow, this is so exciting. A wedding robbery. Who do you think Xie Xinun will choose? If it were me, I would definitely choose Ji Qingli. Her figure and beauty are just too amazing. However, he hadn't even reached Xie Xinun and Ji Qingyu yet. He was blocked by a tall and handsome man. The next moment, the man took off his suit jacket and put it directly on Ji Qingli. Pei Xichi wanted to dig out the eyes of those men. What's going on? Who is this man? Wow, this man is so good looking. What kind of plot is this? It's so exciting. Ji Qingli looked at the man in front of her and couldn't help but frown. The man's aura was very special. It's him. The man who had taken her in the temptation box. He was not dead. 006 got you, little fox. I got you. The man leaned close to her ear and spoke in a sexy and sensual voice. His warm breath fanned against her sensitive ears. Seeing her up close is even more stunning. She was breathtakingly beautiful even with just some light makeup on, making people unable to take their eyes off her. Pei Xichi was looking at her and she was also looking at him. The box was too dark that night and she couldn't see his face clearly. Now, the man was only wearing a black shirt, with the hem of the shirt tucked into a pair of suit pants of the same color. The well-fitting suit pants wrapped around the man's strong and powerful long legs. The beautiful but dangerous almond-shaped eyes, the superior nose bridge, and the sexy thin lips combined to form a flawless and elegant face. Danger, temptation, hormones, sweat pouring down on her body. Whoever you are, don't delay my business. The little fox's pretty lips opened and closed, but the words that came out were quite cruel. Don't worry. I'm not your enemy. Do whatever you want. Even if you want to kill people or burn things, I can cover for you. The man coaxed in her ear. But, when you've done what you want to do, will you also accompany me to do what I want to do? Okay, we'll talk about our grudge later. The pleasant voice was dangerous. Okay, do you need me to cooperate with you? Just sit here obediently. Ji Qingli pushed him to his original seat and deliberately emphasized the word obedient. Just as she was about to leave, her left hand was grabbed by his big, bony hand, and their fingers were tightly clasped. Ji Qingli was getting angry, but at the moment, everyone's eyes were on her and she couldn't lose her temper. Don't run. Ji Qingli wanted to break his fingers directly. She, Ji Qingli, never feared threats from anyone. However, the man had already seen through her intentions, and the two of them were secretly competing against each other. I won't run. You wait for me. Okay, I'll wait for you. It was obviously a normal conversation, but he made it sound ambiguous and mysterious. Seeing this, Sang Ning immediately came to Ji Qingli's side. Who is he? I don't know him. Really? Why do I feel like there's something going on between you two? Sang Ning took another look at the tall and handsome man. I'll talk to you later. Old Ji, what's going on? Why is she here? Xie's mother asked dissatisfiedly. Today is the engagement day of Ji Qingyu and Xie Xinan. What is Ji Qingli doing here? 5 years ago, Ji Qingli shamelessly harassed Sainan, causing a lot of uproar in the city. Now she comes here again. What does she want to do? There was no trace of disgust on Xie's mother's face. Ji Qingli and Sang Ning walked over under everyone's gaze. She couldn't help but laugh when she heard what Xie's mother said. What are you laughing at? When Xie's mother saw the smile on her face, she felt even more upset. I laugh at you for being too confident. Is your son some kind of Mr. Right? Do all the women in the world want to marry him? You? If the people who came today were not from Jiangcheng's famous families, and she didn't want to embarrass herself, she would have wanted to step forward and tear her smug face apart. Mom, forget it. Xie Xinan, who had been silent, spoke up. No matter what, she is Qingyu's sister. Don't embarrass Qingyu. Hearing this, everyone looked at Ji Qingyu, who clenched his fists. Give her face. I'm afraid that it's Xie Xinan who is feeling distressed. Ever since Ji Qingli appeared in the banquet hall, his eyes have never left Ji Qingli. Qingli, now that you're back, stop making trouble. Life at the border isn't easy. Also, this is Jiangcheng, don't bring any messy things here. Xie Xinan glanced at the man sitting in the corner. Who was he? How did he get in? Ji Qingli, who is that man? No matter what, you are my daughter, Ji Minghan, and you are not allowed to hang out with those questionable men. After hearing what Xie Xinan said, Ji Minghan felt extremely embarrassed. Dad, what are you talking about? You have the red flag flying at home and the colorful flags flying outside. What qualifications do you have to criticize me? Ji Qingli asked with a smile, do you know what this is called? This is called the upper beam is not straight and the lower beam is crooked. You? Ji Minghan was almost mad with anger. He rushed forward and raised his hand to hit Ji Qingli. Seeing this, Ji Qingli took a step aside and stretched out a foot when Ji Minghan rushed over. Instead of hitting the person, Ji Minghan was tripped and fell out, and standing in the direction where he fell was Xie's mother. Ji Minghan just threw Xie's mother to the ground. There was a sound of inhalation at the scene. Fuck, what's going on? It's so exciting to eat melons on the spot. Dad, you are not in love with Aunt Xie. This is not good, we are doing this in public. If no one is around. Ji Qingli pretended to be surprised and covered her mouth with her hands. At this time, Ji Minghan's hand was still on Xie's mother's chest. Being knocked down by a man in public, in such an embarrassing position, Xie's mother couldn't help but scream. And Xin quickly went over and helped Ji Minghan up, while Ji Qingyu and Xie Xinan went over together to help Xie's mother. Qingli, how could you do this? Do you still like Xinan? Aunt, don't be angry, Qingli just likes Xinan too much. Call the security guard in and throw this little bitch out. I don't want to see her. Xie's mother yelled without caring about her image. Sister, how could you wrongly accuse me? He clearly pounced on it himself. Maybe Dad just likes this one. How did Xie's mother treat her mother? Her mother had never looked at Xie's father, but this woman said that her mother seduced Xie's father. She still remembers clearly how he insulted her mother as a slut in front of everyone, called her man a seducer, and stepped on her mother harshly. Aunt Xie, I remember when my mother was not around when I was little, you liked to come to my house. You wouldn't have. Ji Qingli deliberately did not finish her words. Rumors can kill people, and this time, the one who was caught up in the rumors was the mistress of the Xie family. What are you talking about, you little bitch? I'm going to tear your mouth apart. Xie's mother was so angry that she almost died. How could she care about her image? Xie Xinan grabbed his mother's hand and looked at Ji Qingli with a grim expression. Ji Qingli, today is Qingyu and I's engagement party. If you're not here to bless us, you can leave. Don't make a scene. Xie Xinan looked at Ji Qingli with complicated eyes. She still likes him. Otherwise, he wouldn't have sneaked back from the border at this time and caused such a scene. Ji Qingli looked at the man in front of her with amusement. He was really confident. Are all the men in the world dead? I'm obsessed with you. Why don't you take a piss and look at yourself? Ji Qingli, I know you are unwilling, but you really can't force feelings. Pei Xichi, who had been sitting in the corner eating melons, couldn't bear to listen any longer. He walked to Ji Qingli's side, put his arm around her waist and brought her into his arms. His big hands were very powerful, holding her waist and preventing her from moving. She likes you? You must be dreaming. You are such a common man. Pei Xichi is 1.9 meters tall and Xie Xinan is only 1.8 meters tall. Xie Xinan can only look up at Pei Xichi, and Xie Xinan really doesn't like this feeling. 007 The Domineering Declaration of War. Who are you? Xie Xinan looked at the tall man in front of him unhappily. You are not qualified to know who I am. Pei Xichi did not give any face to the heir of the Xie family. At this moment, Pei Xichi had only one thought in his mind: the little fox's waist was so thin. It felt like if he exerted a little force, he could break her extremely soft waist. She is so beautiful that people want to destroy her but can't bear to do so. Ji Qingyu also looked at the tall man in front of her. The man was wearing a black shirt, but she couldn't tell what brand it was. His aura is extremely fierce, and both his face and figure have a fatal attraction to women. A man like this must be very powerful when he is on the bed or on the floor. Ji Qingyu felt very unhappy when she thought that such a man belonged to Ji Qingli. Qingli, is she your boyfriend? From the border. It should be brought from the border. There are no wealthy families in the border area, so this man just has a good-looking face, but he is not as good as Xie Xinan, the heir of the Xie family. How could Ji Qingli not understand Ji Qingyue's thoughts? In Ji Qingyue's eyes, family background is more important than anything else. Ji Qingli leaned softly on the man and nodded. Well, he's my boyfriend. What's wrong? By the way, you want to take everything that belongs to me. Do you want to take this too? Qingli, what are you talking about? There are all kinds of people in a place like the border. I'm just worried that you'll be bullied. Her? I don't like her. Don't worry. She can't take me away. Pei Xichi spoke very bluntly, not even bothering to look at Ji Qingyu. Ji Qingyu was very angry. This man really spoke without any mercy. The little fox no longer rejected his approach and leaned against him actively. She just rubbed against his arms, and he reacted shamefully. The little fox has an amazing figure. Why? She is a top student at the Imperial Capital University. Ji Qingli asked deliberately. After hearing her say this, Pei Xichi glanced at Ji Qingyu indifferently. Isn't this obvious to anyone with eyes? First, she's not as pretty as you. Second, her figure isn't as good as yours. Third, she's not as smart as you. I hate stupid women. Ji Qingyu was very angry. She had no way to refute the first two reasons. Har 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 har. Always by my side. Sang Ning couldn't help laughing. Man, even though I don't know who you are, you have good taste. The expression on Ji Qingyu's face successfully pleased Ji Qingli and Sang Ning. Security, kick these two people out. Xie's mother shouted to the security guard outside. Qingli, I know you don't like me because of Sinan, but today is my engagement party with Sinan. Is this appropriate for you? What's inappropriate about this? I think it's very suitable. Ji Qingli leaned lazily on the man. She was also wearing a men's suit jacket. The red dress paired with the black suit jacket made the originally beautiful Ji Qingli look aggressive and handsome. Ji Qingli, don't go too far. Xie Sinan's face looked very unhappy, especially when he saw Ji Qingli being so intimate with this man of unknown origin, which made him even more unhappy. Is that too much? Ji Qingli sneered. Compared with what they had done to her and her mother, this was nothing. Sir, you are not welcome here. Please leave. Otherwise, don't blame me for being rude. No matter whether it was the wealthy family in Jiangcheng or the wealthy family in the imperial capital, he had never heard of such a person. He was just a man who made a living by his looks. How dare he offend the Xie family and the Pei family? How do you want to be rude? Pei Xichi just found it funny. It had been a long time since he heard someone dare to say such things to him. At this time, Xie's mother had already called the manager and security guard over. These two people are here to cause trouble. Get them out now. The manager was very surprised to find out that the man who offended the Xie family was the man who stayed in the presidential suite of Yinguang Hotel today. I'm afraid there is some misunderstanding. The manager tried to smooth things over. On one side is the Xie family of Jiangcheng, and on the other side is the mysterious and dangerous guest of the presidential suite. He can't afford to offend either. It's really a misunderstanding. Ji Qingli left Pei Xichi's arms, and Pei Xichi couldn't help but frown. Seeing that Ji Qingli was getting scared, Xie's mother couldn't help but feel proud. Are you kidding? In Jiangcheng, who dares not to give face to the Xie family? If you kneel down and apologize to me now, I can be magnanimous and not bother with you. Mother Xie looked like she had completely controlled Ji Qingli. Apologize. Okay. Give me the microphone. Ji Qingli instructed Xie Siki, who had been pretending to be deaf and dumb. Xie Siki raised her eyebrows. How dare this little bitch give her an order? Miss Xie didn't hear me. Are you talking? Ji Qingli's mouth curled up into a dangerous smile. Thinking of the photo in her hand and her threat, Xie Siki wanted to bite her teeth off, but she still went to the stage and handed the microphone to her. Xie Siki, what are you doing? Xie's mother was very dissatisfied with this. Mom, forget it. People from the Pei family will be here soon. Stop making trouble. Thinking that more people would come from the Pei family, Xie's mother became anxious and wished she could kick these two people out right away. We can't let the Pei family listen to this little bitch talking nonsense here. Okay, just apologize and get out. I'm a magnanimous person and I won't bother with you. Xie's mother said with disgust. Ji Qingli, apologize immediately. If you dare to do it again, I will throw you to the border tomorrow. Ji Minghan threatened in a low voice, you can ignore yourself, but what about your mother? Now that the Xie family has established contact with the Pei family, won't the Xie family have the final say in Jiangcheng from now on? How dare she offend the Xie family at this time? Others could not hear Ji Minghan's threat, but Pei Xichi, who was standing next to Ji Qingli, heard it clearly. Is this really the little fox's father? It makes people want to kill him directly. Do you need me to help you kill him? Pei Xichi asked. As long as she nodded, he would definitely do it. You? Ji Minghan was furious. Who on earth was this man? Why was his aura so frightening? No, it would be a good thing for him if he died. Death is not the most painful thing. Ji Qingli, I'm your father. Ji Qingli turned on the microphone with a perfect smile on her face. Hello everyone, whether you know me or not, I'm Ji Qingli. I was originally here to attend in Qingyu and Xie Xinan's engagement party today. But because of a small accident just now, I don't have time now. After all, today is a good day, and I have to attend a funeral later. Seeing that she had no intention of apologizing, Xie's mother immediately sent someone to stop her. However, Pei Xichi stood there, blocking everyone and not letting anyone get close to her. I can't possibly apologize. As for what everyone is saying about me kidnapping someone, that's even more impossible. I don't have such a bad eye. Okay, let's stop talking nonsense. I declare that from today on, I will officially take over the Four Seasons group. And, within 3 months, I will completely swallow up all the companies of the Xie family. Everyone, go back home tonight and think carefully about whether you support Ji Minghan and the Xie family, or me. 008 Do you think I'm dead? No one expected that Ji Qingli would be so bold now. She is basically declaring war on the Ji family and the Xie family. You must know that the Xie family has now teamed up with the Pei family in the imperial capital. He has become the leading figure in the entire Jiangcheng. Ji Qingli was just an abandoned pawn thrown to the border. Not to mention annexing the Xie family, even if it was the Ji family, she wouldn't be able to shake it in the slightest. Just when everyone was as quiet as a chicken, Pei Xichi began to applaud. She is indeed the woman I like, so domineering. Pei Xichi looked at her with admiration. Lily, take me flying with you. Sang Ning also said with a smile. Chuanfei and the others, who made them bully Lily and Godmother 5 years ago. Others. Are these 3 people crazy? Or is this world a fantasy? Ji Qingli, do you think I'm dead? Ji Minghan blew his beard and glared. Now, he is the one in charge of Four Seasons Group. He has finally gained complete control of Four Seasons Group. How could he give it up easily? He will kill anyone who dares to compete with him for the Four Seasons Group. It's almost the same as death. Ji Qingli sneered, not taking Ji Minghan's threats seriously at all. Har har. Xie's mother just thought it was ridiculous. You are overestimating yourself, Ji Qingli. Do you think you can swallow up our Xie family just by finding a small thug to come here and talk nonsense? It's true that ignorance is fearless. No, you are as crazy as your mother. You are dreaming here in broad daylight. Don't even mention you, Ji Qingli. Even if it's the entire Ji family, there's no way they can be a match for our Xie family. Mother Xie felt a pain in her chest from anger. Ever since Xie Xinan became a student at the research institute and Xie Siki hooked up with the young master of the Pei family, their Xie family has been rising rapidly over the years, and no one in the entire Jiangcheng dared to challenge them. And now, that bitch Ji Yulanqing's daughter actually dared to embarrass them in front of so many people. Ji Qingli, have you had enough of this? Xie Xinan looked at her like a monster. Isn't the lesson from 5 years ago enough? Don't worry, I remember what happened 5 years ago better than anyone else. Well, it's almost time. I wish you and Ji Qingyu a long and happy marriage and eternal love. Go and enjoy your last carnival. After tonight, they won't have such leisure time. Ji Qingyu's face looked very ugly. Originally, she was the protagonist of today's engagement banquet. However, after Ji Qingli's disturbance, she became the topic of conversation among all the wealthy and noble families in Jiangcheng overnight. Sang, let's go. Ji Qingli turned and left. She was in a good mood. Many people probably wouldn't be able to sleep tonight. Sang Ning left with Ji Qingli. Pei Xichi whistled in a gangster way. This woman was exactly what he wanted. He liked how she took down everyone so cleanly. Looking at Ji Qingli's leaving back, Xie Xinan felt very uncomfortable. Ji Qingli was indeed very wild today, but seeing her like this, his heart still beat wildly. Yes. How could he forget? It was just like that 5 years ago. She didn't have to do anything. She just had to look at him and he would be open-hearted to her. Xinan, what now? Ji Qingyu held Xie Xinan's hand. Should the engagement party continue? Go on. Xie Xinan said coldly. He could get engaged to Ji Qingyu or even get married. As for Ji Qingli, sooner or later, she would come to ask him for help. By then, it would not be impossible to keep her outside. After all, the woman didn't have to do anything, just standing there could make his blood boil. At the following engagement party, everyone was out of sorts and could only rush through the process. After seeing everyone off, Xie's mother could no longer hold back. Today's incident has become like this, shouldn't you, the Ji family, give us an explanation? Don't worry, mother-in-law. I will definitely teach her a lesson when I get back. She's talking nonsense. Not to mention the Xie family, even the Four Seasons group belongs to Qingyu. I won't give her a penny. Ji Minghan nodded and apologized, and now he even wanted to kill Ji Qingli. Aunt, I'm sorry, I didn't expect it to be like this. Ji Qingyu also apologized. Seeing Ji Qingyu, Xie's mother's expression looked much better. Qingyu entered M Research Institute together with Xinan. Her son and daughter-in-law both entered the M Institute. From now on, the Xie family will depend on them. Qingyu, this matter has nothing to do with you. Don't let it affect you. You and Xinan must be fine. Mother Xie took Ji Qingyu's hand and comforted her. After such a commotion, Xie's mother was tired and left with Xie Siki. Didn't you say that someone from the Pei family would come today? What's going on? Xie Siki didn't he know what was going on? I'll call and ask. However, when I called, there was no. When the person answered the phone, Xie Siki's face turned ugly. Okay, don't stay in Jiangcheng anymore, go to the imperial capital tomorrow. The connection we have finally established cannot be broken just like that. Okay, I understand. After Anshin said a few words to Ji Qingyu, she left with Ji Minghan. Ji Qingyu and Xie Xinan arrived at the presidential suite of Yunguan Hotel. As soon as they entered, Ji Qingyu was pressed against the door and kissed by Xie Xinan. His actions were very rough, but Ji Qingyu enjoyed it very much. In bed, Xie Xinan has always been very well behaved and she is never satisfied. However, Xie Xinan was like a madman today, and she liked Xie Xinan's madness. What she didn't know was that at this moment Xie Xinan was thinking of Ji Qingli's charming face. Imagine that the person under him is that proud girl. After coming out of the Yunguan Hotel, Ji Qingli and Sang Ning walked towards the severely damaged red sports car. Seeing his beloved car smashed like this, Sang Ning's heart was bleeding. Xiao Honghong, I'm sorry. You must be in pain. It's your sister who is sorry for you. Ji Qingli put her arms around her waist, and Sang Ning leaned in her arms and pretended to cry. Li, don't blame yourself. I can understand the situation. By the way, have those people been caught? Who asked them to come? Those people clearly wanted to crash them to death. Lini came back alone this time without any help, so she was actually very worried. Sang, you are tired today. Go back and rest early. This car can't be driven anymore. I will compensate you with a new one when the time comes. What are you talking about? Do we need to talk about this? For you, I can even risk my life. Well, then you go back first. Who is this man? He looks mean, but is really handsome. When did you hook up with him? That figure is better than that of top models. Ji Qingli glanced at the man who had been following them and snorted coldly. Enemy? Question mark. Miss Sang, it's getting late. Let me take you home first. Pei Xichi winked at the assistant next to him, and the assistant immediately understood. Li, do you need my help? If it was an enemy, she couldn't leave at this time. Ji Qingli pinched her cheek. No, you go back and rest first. She can deal with this man on her own. 009 Is it fun? Sang Ning left, and only Ji Qingli and Pei Xichi were left by the river. The tall and handsome man stood in the wind's outlet, blocking the wind for her. Ji Qingli wanted to smoke, but after touching it, she remembered that she was wearing a dress. Seeing this, Pei Xichi walked to the Cullinan parked nearby without saying a word and took the cigarette case and lighter. He knocked a cigarette out of the box, put it in his mouth, lit it and took 2 puffs. Ji Qingli became even more annoyed. She really didn't expect that this man would chase her here. He took her virginity and she stabbed him in the chest. Even if she didn't die, they were even. So, what is his purpose in coming here now? At this moment, the man handed the lit cigarette in his mouth to Ji Qingli. Don't you want to smoke? Ji Qingli didn't act pretentiously and just opened her mouth. Looking at the tempting lips in front of him, Pei Xichi resisted the urge to kiss her directly and put the cigarette into her mouth. Ji Qingli leaned casually on the railing by the river. The girl's curvy figure was enough to arouse people's imagination just by standing there. Ji Qingli took a few puffs of cigarette lazily before asking casually. What's your name? Pei Xichi. You chased me to Jiangcheng. Yes. What do you want? She had always known that this man was dangerous. But Ji Qingli is not a fearful person. Since you have provoked me, you should just solve it the way you want. The man suddenly approached, supported the railing with both hands, and trapped her between his chest and the railing. The distance between the two people was very close, and as long as one of them breathed, their bodies would inevitably stick together. I'm attracted to you. The man spoke very bluntly. Oh. Ji Qingli took another puff of her cigarette, then blew the smoke rings into his face. A beautiful woman is charming and attractive no matter what she does. I think you are attracted to my body, right? Why are all men so superficial? We are all adults, isn't it normal for us to have sexual attraction to each other? I have a crush on you, what about you? He has always been a cold-hearted person. This was also the first time he desired a woman so desperately. I'm not interested in you. Ji Qingli held a cigarette in one hand and pressed the other hand on the man's previously injured chest. The girl pressed hard on the man's wound which had not yet scabbed. At this time, the wound was already bleeding. Both of them are very sensitive to the smell of blood. Is it good? Ji Qingli asked coldly. Cool. The next moment, the man's big hand pressed down the woman's injured arm. Oh. The girl groaned. The two of them interacted with each other, and neither of them was willing to suffer a loss. Pei Xichi, don't mess with me. Ji Qingli warned. The man let go of the girl's injured arm and then grabbed her soft waist. He was obsessed with the girl's soft waist. She was so soft and must be very cooperative. I said, I like you, and whoever I like must be mine. Roll. I like her, that's a nice thing to say. Ji Qingli threw away the cigarette in her hand, turned her palms into fists, and attacked Pei Xichi's face with her fierce fists. Pei Xichi sighed. He fell in love with her. Was this hard to accept? Why does the little girl have such a bad temper? Pei Xichi caught Ji Qingli's fist and wrapped her fist in his big palm. Ji Qingli wanted to pull her hand back, but the man was so strong that she couldn't pull it back. The other hand immediately attacked, however, the man seemed to be able to see through her moves and easily grabbed her other hand. The next moment, the man gently pulled her and she fell directly into his arms. Both of her hands were held by the man. Ji Qingli has never been a person who would give up easily. She bent her knees and attacked the man's most vulnerable crotch. Little fox, how can you be so cruel? Do you want me to have no descendants? Pei Xichi blocked Ji Qingli's attack with one foot, and as a result, the two of them hugged each other in a very strange posture. His hardness and her softness pressed against each other, and the faint body fragrance of the girl bewitched and seduced him. Let me go. Ji Qingli was very angry. This man was indeed a dangerous person. No. Pei Xichi is a very bad person at heart, and he thinks the little girl is actually very cute when she is angry. Very good. It seemed that this man was determined to go against her. After saying that, Ji Qingli's body softened and she gave up attacking. Your wound has split open. Ji Qingli reminded coldly. Well, it's okay. You won't die if you bleed a little. Pei Xichi didn't care at all. Seeing that she was not so resistant anymore, Pei Xichi also loosened his strength and held her slender waist with both hands. Little fox, I didn't. You don't have to be afraid of bad intentions. Pei Xichi's voice was low, and if you listened carefully, there was a hint of temptation in it. Afraid? Har har. Ji Qingli just found it funny. Who had she, Ji Qingli, ever been afraid of? Ji Qingli stretched out her hand and gently stroked the man's sexy Adam's apple with her fingertips. Then she stood on tiptoes and moved her lips towards the man. When she was about to kiss him, she stopped and moved her lips close to the man's ear. I don't care what your purpose is, don't hinder me, otherwise, I will drag you down with me even if I die. Okay, it's getting late. Should I take you home or stay at the Yunguang Hotel for one night? Pei Xichi did not continue teasing her. The little girl was young and could not resist being teased. No. At this time, the entire Ji family is probably still waiting for her. If they want to wait, let them wait as much as they want. Do you have the courage to come with me? Pei Xichi pulled her suit jacket on. Walk. What is there to be afraid of? Pei Xichi opened the passenger door for her and Ji Qingli got in directly. Pei Xichi drove directly back to Yunguang Hotel and had someone deliver a medical kit. I'll help you with that first. He could have gone directly to the Pei family's private hospital in Jiangcheng, but when he thought about the doctor touching her arm, he changed his mind. The gauze wrapped around my arm was indeed bleeding. And the instigator was the man in front of him. Ji Qingli sat on the sofa in the presidential suite. Pei Xichi squatted in front of her and untied the blood-stained gauze wrapped around her arm. The wound had already split open and it looked painful, but when he pressed it just now, she didn't say a word. It's really a tough nut to crack. However, it suits his taste and he likes it very much. When they were fighting, his moves were fierce, but when he was treating her wounds, this man was gentle and meticulous. I need to use alcohol to disinfect. Can you bear it? Pei Xichi used alcohol to disinfect her. Ji Qingli's face turned pale with pain, but she remained silent. He now regretted not giving in to her just now. Why bother to compete with a little girl? Seeing her like this, he felt very distressed. You can bite me if it hurts. Pei Xichi treated her wound with one hand and put the other hand to her mouth. Ji Qingli didn't bother to be polite with him. It was his own request, so there was no need for her to be polite. The pearly teeth bit the man's arm raw. His skin was bitten, but he just felt numb all over. Some scenes that are not suitable for children flashed through my mind. 010 shirt off. Ji Qingli glared at him. Why was this man yelling so loudly? Pei Xichi, sorry, I couldn't control myself. Ji Qingli. Pei Xichi cleaned her wound and wrapped it with gauze. The man's movements were very skillful. After the treatment was completed, the man looked at him with gloomy eyes. I have already treated your wound. What about mine? Shouldn't you help me treat it as well? In fact, he could handle it himself, but he wanted her to help him. A hint of evil flashed across the girl's beautiful eyes. Nod. Okay, I'll help you. The girl got up from the sofa and pushed the man down on it. Shirt off. The girl ordered. Help me take it off, my wound hurts. The man sat on the sofa, looking very imposing. The man has a pair of very affectionate eyes. Eyes like these, even when looking at a dog, will make people feel extremely affectionate. Ji Qingli flexed her fingers and a wicked smile appeared on the corner of her mouth. Okay. Then he squeezed between the man's legs and ripped off his black shirt. The force was so strong that the buttons of the shirt fell off to the ground. Do you want me to help you? Want? The man looked at her defiantly. It's wild enough. I like it very much. The man continued. Ji Qingli wildly tore off the man's black shirt. The man's sexy chest muscles suddenly appeared before his eyes. This man really has the ability to seduce women. The gauze on the chest was stained red with blood. Ji Qingli touched it maliciously. The man groaned. Isn't that very patient? What's your name? I don't want to endure it in front of you. In stark contrast to Pei Xichi's gentleness and meticulousness when treating the wound, Ji Qingli's actions were very rough. Pei Xichi's face changed due to the pain. However, she was not allowed to stop. He wondered if he also liked being abused deep down. Otherwise, why would the pain become more noticeable? Her fingers were warm and it felt so good to touch his hot body. Looking at the spring in the man's eyes that couldn't be concealed. Ji Qingli's face was full of mockery. Men always act on their animal instincts. Just after treating the wound, Ji Qingli's cell phone rang. She took her cell phone and went to the French window to answer the call, while Pei Xichi cleaned up the mess on the coffee table with his upper body naked. The call was connected. Ji Minghan. An angry voice came from the phone. Ji Qingli, where are you? I'll give you 10 minutes, come back here right away. If you don't come back, you will never see your mother again in this life. I'm talking to you, can't you hear me? Are you deaf? When he thought about the embarrassing things he had done at the engagement party tonight, he wanted to beat her to death. Ji Minghan, isn't the lesson I taught you tonight enough? You want to see me, right? Sure, wait for me at home. After Ji Qingli finished speaking, she hung up the phone. Are you going back? When she turned around, she saw the man standing behind her with his upper body naked. No, I'm going to take a shower. After Ji Qingli finished speaking, she went straight to the bathroom. Listening to the sound of water coming from the bathroom, Pei Xichi felt that the restlessness in his body could no longer be suppressed. Jiangcheng came out of the bathroom in her bathrobe and saw the man standing in front of the floor-to-ceiling window smoking. His superior back view alone can make thousands of girls scream. Hearing the noise, Pei Xichi turned around to look at her. The girl, who had just finished a shower, had her hair still dripping with water and was only wearing a bathrobe. "Why haven't you left yet?" Jiangcheng frowned. Pei Xichi walked to the coffee table and put out the remaining half of the cigarette in the ashtray. "Miss G, I opened this room. Then I'll go. This man's gaze is too naked. However, she has no interest in love affairs." Hearing this, the man walked up to her and held her in his arms. "Didn't I tell you? I'm attracted to you. Jiangcheng, how about I pursue you?" Pei Xichi is very direct. "Not very good." Jiangcheng pushed him away, turned around and was about to walk out. "You don't have to go, I'll go." Pei Xichi didn't force her. After all, the two people have not known each other for long. There is still a long time to come, so he is not in a hurry. This girl's body is soft but her bones are hard. You can't fight her head on, otherwise she will only get hurt. Pei Xichi walked out of the presidential suite and asked his assistant to book a presidential suite next to Jiangcheng's. "Sir, the eldest young master in the imperial capital has been very restless recently," the assistant reported. "Let him jump around for a few more days. It would be boring to kill him right at the beginning. It would be more interesting to wait until he thinks he is about to achieve success and then let him fall to his death from the clouds." Where are the second young master and the third young lady? None of the three siblings of the Pei family are easy to deal with. The second young master and the third young miss have been relatively quiet lately. Although he has not been in the imperial capital recently, he knows everything that happens in the imperial capital. That night, Jiangcheng slept soundly in the presidential suite of Yunguan Hotel. "When I woke up the next day, I felt refreshed." Hearing the doorbell, Jiangcheng went over barefoot to open the door. The door opened and Pei Xichi in a black shirt was outside. This man really likes wearing black shirts. But to be honest, this man and the black shirt are 100% suitable. Having breakfast together, this request is not too much. The clothes are ready for you. I'll wait for you outside. Jiangcheng glanced at the assistant behind him, who was carrying several bags in his hands. She did need to change her clothes, so she stepped aside to let the assistant put her things in. "Thanks." After the assistant left, Jiangcheng closed the door. Pei Xichi was waiting outside. He was not a patient person, but when facing Jiangcheng, he was very patient. Just then, the door of the presidential suite opposite opened, and Jiangcheng and Xie Xinan walked out. Seeing Pei Xichi, Jiangcheng and Xie Xinan were both stunned. "What are you doing here? Are you following us?" Xie Xinan frowned. Looking at the Pei Xinan in front of him, Pei Xichi just found it funny. "What are you? You?" Xie Xinan just felt that the smile on this man's face was very dazzling. And just at this moment, Jiangcheng opened the door of the room and came out. After seeing Jiangcheng actually coming out of the presidential suite, Xie Xinan's face became even uglier. "Jiangcheng, how can you be so shameless that you actually checked into a room with a man of unknown origin? Do you still have any shame? When he was doing it with Jiangcheng last night, he was thinking about her, but what about her? Was she under this man at that time? Qingli, I know you're unwilling, but you can't just find someone to mess around with just because Xinan and I are engaged. Jiangcheng, you are fooling around with men outside. What qualifications do you have to criticize me? You really think you are the eldest daughter of the Ji family? No matter how you try to clean yourself up, your mother is still a shameless mistress. You will always be the daughter of a mistress, don't you know that?" "That's right. If we compare the skills of seducing men, I can't compare with you. After all, you have learned everything from your mother. Your mother taught you all the skills of seducing men." You Jiangcheng's eyes suddenly turned red. "Qingli, it was obviously your mother who cheated on you. My mother only got together with my father later." "How can you say that about my mother?" Jiangcheng grabbed Jiangcheng's neck. "Really? Jiangcheng, don't you know whether my mother really cheated on her? She has Alzheimer's disease at such a young age. 011 If an apology is useful, why would we need to call the police? Jiangcheng, what do you want to do? There are surveillance cameras here. Seeing this, Xie Xinan wanted to come over and pull Ji Qingli away. After all, Ji Qingyu was his fiancée, so how could he let others bully her like this? However, a big hand blocked his way. Xie Xinan wanted to shake the man's hand away. The man grabbed his shoulders, and he suddenly felt like his shoulder blades were about to be crushed. What are you doing? Let women handle their own affairs. Your opponent is me. Lili, do whatever you want, I'm here for you. Pei Xichi said nonchalantly. Apologize. Jiu Lanqing is Ji Qingli's Achilles heel. She doesn't allow anyone to say anything bad about her mother. Ji Qingyu still wanted to resist, but the feeling of suffocation was not pleasant. Ji Qingli is really a lunatic. If she didn't apologize, this madman might really take her life. I'm sorry, I said the wrong thing. Ji Qingyu finally apologized. However, Ji Qingli did not let her go. If apologies are useful, what do we need the police for? Ji Qingli increased her strength. Ji Qingli, what will happen to your mother if you go to jail? Shesnan warns her. Don't be afraid. Even if you kill someone today, you won't go to jail. Pei Xichi backed her up. Ji Qingli, this man doesn't love you at all. How could someone who truly loves you instigate you to kill someone? What kind of people does she know? Why don't they play by the rules? Pei Xichi really didn't want to listen to his nonsense, so he pinched his mouth and made him unable to speak. From childhood to adulthood, Xie Xinan has always been a child of destiny and has never been humiliated like this. He wanted to kick Pei Xichi, however, Pei Xichi's arms were too long, and he couldn't kick him at all because he was pinching him like that. Just when Ji Qingyu felt that she was really going to die at Ji Qingli's hands today, Ji Qingli let her go. After a long period of suffocation, Ji Qingyu fell limply to the ground. Sitting on the ground coughing violently, Ji Qingli squatted down and pinched Ji Qingyu's cheek, forcing her to look at herself. Ji Qingyu, have you forgotten? I am also a psychopath. As a top student at Imperial Capital University, you should know that it is not illegal for a psychopath to kill someone, right? Ji Qingyu looked at her in horror. Madman, this is a complete madman. Ji Qingli let go of her and stood up. Pei Xichi handed her a piece of paper. Ji Qingli wiped her hands with a tissue. Let's go. I'll take you to breakfast. Pei Xichi took the tissue she had used to wipe her hands. Ji Qingli and Pei Xichi left together, and the assistant followed immediately. Ji Qingyu was sitting on the ground coughing violently. Xie Xinan came over and helped her up. Qingyu, are you okay? Do you want me to take you to the hospital? Ji Qingyu threw herself into Xie Xinan's arms, crying her eyes out, which was heartbreaking. Xinan, how could she do this to me? I was doing this for her own good. You saw how cruel that man was. How could he be a good person? I know. Okay, stop crying. I'll take you to the hospital first. No, I want to check the surveillance footage and sue them. Ji Qingyu was so angry that her whole body was shaking. However, when Ji Qingyu found the manager and asked to adjust the surveillance, she found that the surveillance had been cleared. How so? From the time she was bullied by Ji Qingli to the time she came over to check the surveillance, it was only more than 10 minutes. How come the surveillance was cleared? Okay, let's go back first. Ji Qingyu had no choice but to follow Xie Xinan back first. Xie Xinan sent her to the Ji family villa. Aren't you going in with me? Ji Qingyu got out of the car only to find that he didn't get out at all. Qingyu, I'm tired. I'm going back first. Xie Xinan suddenly felt that it was meaningless. Are you tired? Last night, he pulled her to do it many times. Well, I'll go back first. Xie Xinan didn't take Ji Qingli's declaration of war yesterday seriously at all. Today, no one can shake the Xie family in Jiangcheng. Then go back and have a good rest. After seeing Xie Xinan off, Ji Qingyu could no longer maintain the gentleness on her face. When I entered the house, I saw Ji Minghan and Anshin in the living room. When Anshin saw her coming back, she immediately got up from the sofa and saw her neck and cheeks were red from being pinched. What happened? Anshin frowned. The pinch marks on Ji Qingyu's fair neck were really conspicuous. Qingli pinched me. I saw her coming out of the room with that unknown man from yesterday. I tried to persuade her and she pinched me like this. What? She dares to do it. I think she's going to make a scene. Ji Minghan stood up and came to check the scar on Ji Qingyue's neck. Dad, I'm afraid Qingli won't let Mom and I go easily this time she comes back. I think she's as scary as the crazy Ji Yulanqing. Minghan, why don't we get a divorce? Qingli has hatred in her heart, and I'm afraid she will retaliate against us. I will return you to her and Ji Yulanqing. Ji Minghan hugged Anshin and Ji Qingyu and comforted them gently. Wife, what nonsense are you talking about? We are family. When she comes back, I will ask her to give up her shares and then throw her to the border. Qingyu, no matter where you go in the future, bring 2 bodyguards with you. Don't mess with Ji Qingli before I get her shares. You are a student of M Institute. When you enter M Institute, Ji Qingli will not dare to provoke you. Ji Qingli is now a lunatic. She even dares to attack him, so he has to be on guard. If he wants to take over for Season's group, it is absolutely impossible unless he dies. Dad, I get it, don't worry. Now, she is just a student at the M Institute, and the Xie family has already given her a lot of face. When she really enters the M Institute, these people will surely bow down to her. As for that little bitch Ji Qingli, she was left to Ji Minghan. After all, Ji Minghan was her biological father, so no matter what Ji Minghan did, Ji Qingli could not kill him. At this time, Ji Qingli and Pei Xichi had finished their breakfast. Coming out of the restaurant, Ji Qingli stopped. We've had breakfast, Master Kai, go find another little sister to play with. There are no other little sisters, only you. Pei Xichi answered seriously. Where are you going? I'll take you there. Go home. I send you. Pei Xichi opened the passenger door. Ji Qingli didn't bother to be polite with him. Since he had chased her all the way from the border to here, he must have checked on her. Pei Xichi drove very wildly, and Cullinan sped along the road, attracting the attention of other vehicles on the road. Wow, this car is so flashy. The man driving the car is so handsome. Soon, Cullinan stopped outside the Ji family's villa. Would you like me to go in with you? As long as she nodded, he would help her solve all her troubles. No, I'll go by myself. Dinner together tonight. Pei Xichi made the invitation. Wasn't he here just for this little girl? I'll contact you in the evening. Ji Qingli did not agree directly. She was not interested in the man's whim. In other words, she has no interest in men at all. Seeing the girl leave without looking back, Pei Xichi took a cigarette from the cigarette box, put it in his mouth, and lit it. He took a few deep puffs of the cigarette before he suppressed the urge to rush in and kidnap her. Ji Qingli didn't care at all what Pei Xichi was thinking. When I arrived home, I found that there were more than a dozen bodyguards in black standing behind Ji Minghan. With these bodyguards, Ji Minghan clearly had more confidence. Oh. Ji Qingli couldn't help but sneer. 012 Let's go together. Before Ji Qingli sat down, Ji Minghan asked the butler to bring the equity transfer document. Li, you are still young. You don't know how to manage a company. You should let your dad manage the company for you. You only need to take the dividends every month. Butler Wang, give the equity transfer document to Lily for signature. With more than a dozen bodyguards at home, Butler Wang also felt more confident. He is Ji Minghan's man, what can Ji Qingli do to him? Those things that happened 5 years ago are gone without a trace. What can Ji Qingli do, a little girl who is not loved by her father and mother? Miss, this is the equity transfer document. Ji Qingli ignored him and walked to the single sofa and sat down. Anshin and Ji Qingyu were not there, and no one knew where they had hidden. Anshin is a smart person, at least smarter than Ji Qingyu, and knows that she cannot confront her head on. Seeing that she did not take the equity transfer letter, Ji Minghan winked at Butler Wang. Butler Wang had no choice but to deliver the things to her. This time, Ji Qingli answered it and she flipped through 2 pages casually. Lily, Daddy is really doing this for your own good. These famous families in Jiangcheng are all ruthless. You are a 20-year-old girl, how can you be their opponent? You haven't been back for 5 years. You don't know how difficult business is now. The Four Seasons group is also in a very difficult situation now. Ji Minghan began to play the victim. No matter what happened between your mother and I am still your father and I can't hurt you. Dividends. Ji Qingli looked at Ji Minghan. In the past 5 years, she had not seen a penny from the Four Seasons group. Hearing her voice, Ji Minghan thought she was moved and nodded immediately. Yes. Dad will give you dividends every month. If you don't want to go back to the border, you can stay. Our family can also stay in Jiangcheng. As for your mother, leave her at the border. When it comes to Ji Yulanqing, Ji Minghan's eyes are filled with disgust. Oh, family? Who is your family? Ji Qingli tore the equity transfer document into two halves and smashed it on Ji Minghan's face. Ji Qingli. Ji Minghan was angry and his face hurt so much from being hit. Don't refuse a toast and drink a forfeit. Ji Minghan threw the equity transfer document on his face to the ground. I'm telling you, you have to sign today whether you want to or not. Ji Minghan stopped pretending. Ji Qingli doesn't look like his daughter at all. This character is really bad. What? I don't want to sign. Do you still want to force me? Ji Qingli sneered. Didn't she just pretend? Act like a good father. Now I can't pretend anymore. Housekeeper. Ji Minghan didn't want to waste time talking to her and called the housekeeper directly. The housekeeper took out another share transfer document. Miss, I think you should sign it. The gentleman is doing this for your own good. How can a girl manage a company? Ji Qingli stood up and slapped Butler Wang's face hard, and Butler Wang's old face turned red. Who do you think you are? Are you qualified to tell me what to do? Butler Wang was taking advantage of his seniority and never expected that the little girl who once relied on him could be so cruel. Don't worry. I haven't forgotten what happened 5 years ago. Think carefully about what you want to say, and we'll settle it one by one later. Miss, I don't know what you are talking about. Butler Wang was very unhappy. She was just a little girl, what was she so crazy about? Don't worry, you will find out. I will find a time to interrogate you properly. Ji Qingli pushed Butler Wang away. Looking at Ji Qingli, who was extremely arrogant, Ji Minghan just felt troubled. The little girl who used to be at the mercy of others is gone. Ji Qingli is now very difficult to deal with. Let her sign it. Ji Minghan said to the bodyguard behind him. The bodyguards he hired this time were all professionally trained. How could Ji Qingli's mediocre kung fu be their match? The leading bodyguard nodded and came to Ji Qingli's side. Ms. Ji, please. Don't make it too difficult for us. The bodyguard said threateningly. Then you'd better be in trouble. Ji Qingli leaned lazily on the armrest of the sofa. Then I can only be offended. Mr. Ji had said that as long as they could get her to sign, their remuneration would be doubled, no matter what means were used. However, before he could grab Ji Qingli's hand, Ji Qingli kicked him in the heart. She was obviously a frail girl weighing less than 90 kilograms, but her kick was so powerful that it knocked the 5-foot-tall and 170 kilograms strong man to the ground. However, he was still leaning lazily on the armrest of the sofa, with his long hair softly draped over his shoulders, as if it was not her who kicked the man over. The bodyguard, who fell to the ground, rubbed his aching chest. This girl has practiced. Let's go together. For the sake of money, he doesn't mind using his numbers to bully the few. Two men came at her together, but Ji Qingli was still leaning there lazily, not taking the two burly men seriously at all. Her posture made the two burly men even more frightened. The more real masters are fighting. They never shout for war or killing. Instead, he met the enemy calmly. However, no matter what, the reward offered by Mr. Ji is really tempting. Besides, no matter how powerful she was just a frail little girl and could never be their opponent. The two of them attacked Ji Qingli, who was lying on the sofa together. Ji Qingli kicked one of them between the legs, then quickly dodged and punched the other one in the chin. The man who was kicked in the lower body wailed on the ground. Ji Qingli stepped on the man's face with one foot and grabbed the other man's neck with one hand. If she wanted to, she could easily break the strong man's neck. Boss, this. When others saw this, they couldn't help but swallow. Come together. As long as she signs, I will give you 10 times the reward. Ji Minghan just didn't believe it. She was just a little girl, how could she be so powerful? When they heard that the reward was 10 times higher, everyone rushed over. Ji Qingli's lips curled up into an evil smile. Did he really think that she was just hanging around in that borderland that was like hell on earth for nothing? Next, she moved as fast as lightning, with each move being fierce, and she didn't care about her life at all when fighting. No matter how well trained a dozen bodyguards are, they are just ordinary bodyguards and are no match for her. More than a dozen strong men were beaten to the ground. Ji Qingli walked towards Ji Minghan. You, what are you going to do? Ji Minghan's voice was trembling. Butler Wang, who was standing behind him, also felt the terrible sense of oppression around Ji Qingli. Miss, I. Butler Wang was really scared. Thinking of what he did to Ji Yulanqing 5 years ago, he felt a chill down his spine. Get out of here. Ji Qingli had the most perfect smile on her face, but her fox eyes were filled with unstoppable murderous intent. There were more than a dozen injured bodyguards, and they could only support each other and roll out of Ji's house. The shareholders' meeting of Four Seasons Group is held at 9 o'clock every Monday morning. Anshin arrived at Four Seasons Group early in the morning. In 5 years, most of the shareholders of Four Seasons Group were her people. After knowing that Ji Qingli had returned, these people all expressed that they would definitely stand on Anshin's side. Bosson, don't worry. We have seen everything you have done for Four Seasons Group over the years. We are absolutely on your side. That's right. How did the Four Seasons Group become the property of the Ji family? We are a joint stock company. We will support whoever can help us make money. As for that little girl Ji Qingli, after 5 years at the border, what abilities can she have? Yeah. Just then, the door of the conference room opened and Ji Qingli appeared outside the door. 013 Then play with him. Anshin didn't expect Ji Qingli to show up today. Ji Minghan hired more than a dozen professional bodyguards today. The shareholders who had just expressed their loyalty suddenly felt embarrassed. Under everyone's gaze, Ji Qingli walked to Anshin's side. Make way. Ji Qingli didn't even look at Anshin. Not everyone could sit in this position. Anshin's face turned pale in an instant. She has been in this position for 5 years, and in these 5 years, she has also contributed a lot to the development of Four Seasons Group. However, as soon as Ji Qingli comes back, does she have to give up her position? Seeing that she didn't move, Ji Qingli couldn't help but frown. Don't you understand? Ji Qingli mocked. 3 minutes later, Qin Wan got off the cable car smoothly. Among the virtual people sitting on the cable car behind him, there was actually someone stupid enough to shoot himself. However, before the other person could hit Qin Wan, he fell into the river due to the intense movement on the cable car. 30 years was enough time for Greta to grow up. Although she had not yet truly entered adulthood, she had begun to look like a real elf princess. But after all, she had been among a lot of students in the military academy in previous years. This time it was just a crowd of people. Except for the discomfort in her ears, there was no difference. As the team leader, Yang Hao is familiar with the little things happening in every household in the team. What's the situation in Ernie's family? But it's true that I didn't handle it well. I was worried that you would be unhappy to see me, so I let you avoid me. I will pay attention in the future. Shenxia said again. After hearing Fox Shiber's voice, Qi Zhenzi paused for a moment, then he quickly stood up and pretended to be a down-and-out master. Confront Zhang face to face. Qin Wan said coldly. If she only wanted to retaliate against Qin Pei, she would have turned a blind eye if it didn't lead to a bad result. But she wanted to punish Qin Pei and even almost hurt her family. She couldn't just ignore this kind of behavior. Born. Many biological archaeologists have inferred that the Earth's creatures have experienced 5 mass extinctions, with life and death alternating over and over again. HMPH, they are all brainless idiots. Come on, beat them up. Wu Yi gave an order, and his men immediately started punching and kicking the people in the orphanage, causing screams in agony. Mr. Lin, you think you should give me some of it? After all, I have contributed a lot. Who would complain that the money is too little? Although Jiangcheng does not value money very much, he will not give it up. After the silver-haired figure disappeared in the blue light, the space gate returned to its original state, as if nothing had happened. Instantly, a huge funnel-shaped spiritual power vortex formed in the sky above Liu Haiyu's head. The next moment, these spiritual powers rushed towards Liu Haiyu's body like a whale sucking water. Faced with Qin Yibai's question, the clan elder Kai Jia couldn't help feeling helpless. He shook his head and waved towards a corner. 2 big men came up with 2 food plates in their hands. They put down 2 leather bags of wine and a large basin of fragrant meat on the plates and then retreated. Therefore, after being beaten up, these outsiders promptly ceased fighting and finally reached an agreement with the fairy world. The fairy world allowed them to settle in the Milky Way, but they were not allowed to abuse the use of force under any circumstances. Not long after, Jiangcheng saw the giant tiger and the dragon crocodile coming back. They ran towards Jiangcheng, wagging their tails, as if to seek credit. Suddenly, a burst of cold laughter rang out in the room, floating in the air like catkins blown by the wind, making it difficult to tell where it came from. "Stay outside," Jiangcheng ordered. Although he had condensed the golden dragon seal, Jiangcheng had not yet completed the last step, which was to endow the golden dragon seal with the spirit. The golden dragon breaking heaven technique cultivated the ultimate sharp power, and the attack was the most powerful, and could be the strongest means of attack. Although Chu Wu is pretty good in all aspects, it is still not easy for him to gain absolute advantage in the competition of this generation of the Chu family. It is absolutely necessary to have more external support. With 1 day left before the trade fair, Jiang Yi took Luing Xue to Jiangcheng. 014 Do you want to sleep a few more times? When I came out of the Four Seasons group, I saw Pei Xichi's dazzling Cullinan. Ji Qingli walked over, leaned against the car and tapped on the window. The car window was lowered, and Pei Xichi's deep eyes came into view. The buttons of his shirt were casually undone, revealing his sexy chest. His incredibly long legs were wrapped in black suit pants, and even though the Cullinan had a spacious space, they still looked a bit cramped. An impeccable face, broad shoulders and narrow waist, coupled with a pair of long legs. This man exudes seductive hormones from head to toe, inside and out. Are you so free? Ji Qingli looked down at the man in the car. Pei Xichi. Because he knew he couldn't go to vocational high school anymore, he had to go to Jiangcheng instead, so he made a scene. Yu Mao stroked the short hair in front of his forehead and tossed it casually, looking dashing. Now, from what the black-robed old man knew, Xiao Yu's wealth now, in addition to the 30,000 purple crystal coins earned from the sale of the Saint-level corpse, is estimated to be quite a lot of financial resources. But those so-called big families, the top leaders or children of big families will definitely bring a lot of money when they come to an auction. When Bai Zedong walked into his office, even the new assistant could see that he was in a very bad mood. For Dong Huang's employees, it was difficult to see such expressions of emotions on the boss's face. Only that pervert has such a body. Xiao Yu failed in his attack and rushed to the side of the black locust. The young man sighed, turned off the computer, walked to the window, and looked at the picturesque Zhonghe commercial city in the distance. Thinking about the recent turmoil in the city, it seemed that the appearance of Chen Yu had caused turmoil in the usually orderly Zhongzheng city. Was this a good thing or a bad thing? You can go back to the classroom. You must eat breakfast from now on. Hypoglycemia can be very dangerous sometimes. He said the word dangerous and then drove people away. Relax, Sakozy, I mean no harm. With a faint smile, Alan's mental power continued to surge until he completely suppressed Sako's soul. The huge soul seeds were planted silently in the soul soil of the lick. The huge red sword energy had already struck in front of Xiao Yu, and Xiao Yu simply used his right hand, which was glowing purple, to silently crush the red sword energy. Chen Yu felt that it was a bit inappropriate to use the word long lost to describe Tainyo, who was both his teacher and friend, because the word sounded as if he had died once. Besides, Tainyo had never disappeared, he just hadn't been in contact for a long time. Chen La suddenly raised his hand, grabbed the snacks, turned around and threw the snacks away, then turned his head to look at me. Another line of text appeared on the system information bar. Zhang Jian opened the package with surprise, but found that there were no new props in the package. Only the spiritual token that Sister Zi Rui brought him was shining with dazzling green light. But the next second, they saw a shocking scene. The will of heaven exploded directly. That's right, now let's see if there are any problems with this defense wall that has never been used. Ran Feng clenched his fists and said. Ran Feng, wearing an instructor's uniform, explained and demonstrated to them various basic combat defense skills and even various experiences. After slapping him, he just yelled at him, and with a grab of his invisible palm in the air, he caught Wu Yifan in his hand. He couldn't move at all, and even couldn't speak. It was exactly the same as Lin Han's previous state. I don't mean anything, Elder Dai. Since your Qianfu province is willing to choose me, Zhongyang, I am also very happy. We can meet tomorrow to discuss the specific matters in detail. After saying that, I was ready to leave. Don't even think about it. A soft sword appeard in Wang Hornyu's hand. Facing Tang Qian, who was a half-step master, he had no fear at all. After Lin had sent Anya home, he called Yu Shinjun directly and prepared to acquire Jing Group. At that time, the powerful woman was still an ordinary person. She had a happy family, a husband who loved her, and lived a carefree life. But one day, the appearance of a cultivator completely disrupted their peaceful life. 015 He felt distressed. Ji Qingli hasn't had such a dream for a long time. Everything in the dream was suffocating. At that time, she and her mother were thrown to the border. A beautiful woman who was driven crazy, and a gorgeous girl of 15. In that place where people are eaten without leaving any bones, it is so difficult for them to survive. Qingli, don't be afraid, I'm here. A familiar voice sounded in my ears. Ji Qingli pushed away the man in front of her. Seeing the tear marks on the girl's face, Pei Xichi's heart felt like it was cut open with a sharp knife. He kissed away the tears on the girl's face bit by bit. Ji Qingli was stunned. She had never expected the man in front of her to do this. Warm. Lin Ku shuddered involuntarily as if struck by lightning. Her sixth sense made her feel that the third prince was plotting against her. Charles had no comment on this so-called mission, but he had reason to be hostile to that fate. Hey, Zhang Fei, is there no other way? Mu Qing asked with his big eyes wide open angrily. She had never been to this area before, and if it weren't for the guidance of a guest, she would probably have spent a week trying to find this place. Tens of thousands of feet of molten lava gushed out from the ground, accompanied by the roaring sound of wind and thunder. It was vast and fierce, and spread rapidly, extending further and further, which was really intimidating. But Yang Yun himself chose life in the face of life or death, and could only slowly suppress the fear in his heart. He felt that his chances of surviving by coming out to seek survival were much greater than waiting for rescue in the house. After the two of them sat down as host and guest, Xiao Yi took out the lightning-struck wooden stick and handed it to Lin Qingxian. Xu Qingyu suddenly realized and said with a smile, "Uncle Master is really thoughtful. Let's come over here and you tell me quietly." After that, he led Lin Qingxian into a fork in the road. To be fair, Kong Yixian's final result this time is actually. It's really not that bad, it's just that her performance on the court was too abnormal. Of course, her abnormality was caused by many factors. Chang Yi believed that she would not be like this in the next game. Looking at the grey fog and feeling the strangeness of this sea area, Lin Qingxian subconsciously released his spiritual sense. The cock crowed 3 times, and Kwang Tu opened his eyes and saw the sky was getting light. He suddenly felt a little strange, as if he was seeing the dawn for the first time. Okay then, what are you going to do next? Will you follow me into the capital or do you have other tasks? Luo Hanyang smiled and asked casually. Why is that? Chen Jizi was originally an abandoned disciple of Xu Shan, so his talent must not be that high. Kwang Tu said in surprise. Even if it was true, he didn't dare to say it, because he didn't dare. After being trained by Xiao Qian for 6 years, no matter how brave he was, he knew that there were some things that he could talk to the boss in private, but when there were people in front of him, he must never contradict the boss. Could it be that something terrible had happened that caused these two to lose even the most basic decency? Before he knew it, the second prince slowly raised his right hand, gathering his energy. The sound of a dragon roaring could be heard faintly. A golden dragon energy appeared in response, coiling around the second prince's right arm. It was vivid and lifelike. Boundless pressure emerged. Subei doesn't have such ability, but don't forget that both Subei and Ya Feng definitely have such strength. And for them, this is simply a simple matter. It seemed like a compromise, but Du Ziyi, who knew Yun's character well, knew that this was just a delaying tactic, and in the end this bowl of porridge might end up in the sewer. Looking at the time, he found that it was already time for the official system to award rewards, so Wan Feng quickly teleported back. In the center of the blazing flames, their commander-in-chief inexplicably turned into a ball of ice powder. The Golden Crow cultivators below felt a chill in their hearts, and their spiritual thoughts were directed towards the man in white standing in the void. I was still thinking about what to do. After all, I might not be able to please these ghosts by myself. 016 Miss G, we were wrong. After hearing what Lu Yuan said, the man kneeling on the ground immediately kowtowed to Ji Qingli. Miss G, I was wrong. I really know I was wrong. Please let me go. Miss G, we really know we were wrong, and we won't dare to do it again. Miss G, this is Jiangcheng, not the border. You can't kill people casually. Miss G, you should hand us over to the police. Now, they would rather be locked up by the police. It's just killing a few people. Just kill us and go back to the border. Lu Yuan didn't care at all. Anyone who dared to touch their sister Li must die. Sister Li, don't worry, I'll do it, and then I'll go back to the border. Hand him over to the police. There is no doubt that Duan Zhong's move was successful. The number of people that could pass through the secret passage was very limited, so as soon as the battle started, Duan Zhong had already begun to transfer a large number of troops outside the city, just waiting for the fire to start, and then rush out of the secret passage to shoot and kill all the soldiers who wanted to rush out of the city to attack Dalian. Yang Qiong actually wanted to go back to the set, but she thought Luo Yulin was right. Even if she went back to the set, no one would be able to help her. What's more, Yang Qiong glanced at Chen Fei. She was afraid that he would not let her go. I already have a preliminary idea. Mr. Chen Fei, I have a request and I hope you can agree to it. Liu Xiahong suddenly said. 2 spiders were hunting, and a horned sheep became their delicious dinner. The 2 spiders that were concentrating on hunting suddenly stopped, raised their front legs and sniffed the air, and saw Bradley coming towards them from a distance. How many days can you hold on? Han Yang stopped being polite at this time and went straight to the point. The originally beautiful scene was destroyed because of Xu Yishuan's sudden words. Listening carefully, their voice actually carried a hint of complaint. Wei Yang was confused and looked up at the person in front of him. Under Qingmu's mask, the pair of deep amber eyes were unusually dazzling. Dazzling, there are such brilliant eyes in the world. It makes Wei Yang feel like he is looking at flowers in the fog. Leander was promoted. Leander looked at the person who had suppressed him just now, and pressed him with his momentum. Leander didn't dare to provoke the church, and automatically ignored it. Now Leander is not afraid of them. Even if he can't beat him, he has the strength to escape. It's not easy for a duty to cause trouble for you. After drinking, the friends invited them to find a place to relax. The content of this relaxation was naturally the kind that men knew tacitly, but Fader refused. He said he was too tired to rest first and would go with them another day. Li Wei originally wanted to book 2 rooms, but Jiang Chuchu used the excuse of saving money to book only a double room. Not to mention, the 2 had a fierce battle in the morning, which had already consumed a lot of Mu Rongshue's physical strength. But today was the first time I met Chen Yuhan after all. If I beat her cousin's husband like a dog, then she could reject me openly, and then I would have a hard time explaining to my dad. But Liu Ji still admires you very much. He came to your room several times to chat with you. He said that after several private conversations, he found that there are many charming things about you that made him unable to extricate himself. Liu Qing said. In the early morning, Mo Yu and his party were traveling in an area bordering the Purple Eagle Empire and the Iberian Kingdom. After they obtained the Sword Tower, they first returned to Silver Sand City, and then arranged for the backbone of the mercenary group to act as the city lord, and then hurried south. The remaining dozen or so disciples were discussing, all of them were very surprised at what had just happened. However, they naturally could not know the secret of the heavenly demon body, and since they had already broken through the first level, they were happy and did not think about it anymore. You can say that. Bai Gan calmly said that antibiotics were herbs. Anyway, he couldn't understand the detailed explanation of the differences between Chinese and Western medicines to Marquis Cadian. Over the past half-month, people had long forgotten about the death of Yamamoto Ichiro, and the searches by the Musasha clan, the Yamamoto family, and Shida were not as intensive as at the beginning. Everything seemed to have calmed down. 017 I support her no matter what she wants to do. The man's smooth muscle lines and sexy Adam's apple come to my mind. Even though she was used to seeing all kinds of handsome men, Ji Qingli had to admit that this man's appearance was absolutely unique. Li, you are 20 years old now, you can taste meat. Sang Ning smiled in a very indecent way. If the target is him, it's not a loss. The 2 best friends were whispering to each other, and Pei Xichi did not interrupt them, showing great tact. He asked the manager to start serving the food. The manager arranged all the famous dishes of Jiangcheng. Seeing such a table full of delicious food, Sang Ning couldn't help swallowing his saliva. Eat first. Ji Qingli handed her the chopsticks. Sanning is a foodie, and he loves food. Xu Mosen belongs to her. Before she appeared, Xu Mosen was so gentle to her. Why did he become a stranger to her after Tong Lexi came into being? At this time, a white-haired old man strode down the steps of the villa and roared. Emperor Wanli was leaning on the couch, holding a memorial in his hand, his eyes closed, thinking about something. Then she slowly floated to the top of the sedan chair, rolled up her sleeves, took off the nether phoenix jade bracelet from her wrist, and while chanting the jade bracelet spell, threw it into the air. It was originally a jade bracelet, but in an instant, it turned into a black phoenix. Just as Huang Yunmai was sighing and thinking this, Huang Hualan also took out the entire piece of guanyin jade. There was a gleam of light in the soldiers' eyes, and then the light was suppressed to the bottom of their hearts for a moment. It's our turn to go. A heroic man in military uniform and cap walked over. Major General Yi had arrived. At this moment, the soldiers of Unit X could finally truly display their strength. Yu Ling, who was beside Feng lowered the red sedan curtain when she heard Feng question, then slowly turned her head. I have a lot of things to ask Feng beside me, but I still feel a little jealous in my heart. In the underground palace hall, on the altar, the 1,000-year-old snow fox demon was pinching Feng Chi's neck with one hand, looking at the prey in his hand with joy. He had just come out, and there was fresh, living human yang energy for him to absorb. The other two must not be kept, as it would cause trouble. Brother, why is that guy talking in such a sarcastic tone? If my sister-in-law hadn't stopped me, I would have beaten him up. Di Hu said in a muffled voice. I'll take my leave. The queen, concubine, and Mo Ruji all knelt down and walked slowly towards the palace entrance. During the dull pursuit, and Feng silently checked his gun. He had come out to hunt in a good mood, but he didn't expect that the scene created by the poachers would completely ruin it. Including him, everyone lost their hunting mood and was replaced by a heavy feeling. As soon as they appeared, they attracted everyone's attention. No one expected that the reinforcements this time were actually the silver predators. Yang Miu finally opened her eyes. She was stunned by the person in the mirror. Was the extremely beautiful person in the mirror really her? She had always known that she was beautiful, but she had never known that she was so beautiful. No wonder the makeup artist was so amazed. King! Chijie called out weakly. The man really stopped what he was doing. When Jian Mofen heard Jack say that they loved each other, he looked a little dazed. It turned out that outsiders thought they loved each other. If Yang Miu was not here, he thought, he would definitely ask Jack, do they really seem to love each other? The snake's abdomen squirmed, as if it was digesting the shovel it had just swallowed. Then he noticed the force that climbed up its tail. It made a strange cry that sounded like both a cat and a tiger, and then bit him. When Mo Ruji heard this, her face changed. She then remembered that the emperor had agreed to stay in her room last night, but he never came back because of the so-called gift sent by the queen. Now Qing Shuang actually brought up the queen's name to scold her again. How could she be convinced? 018 Shura Field. Xie Xinan had always disliked this man, and seeing him coming up again at this time, he felt even more uncomfortable. Ji Qingli, I've said everything I need to say. If you continue to be entangled with such a shady man, no one can save you. Not a good person. Who are you calling a good person? Pei Xichi glanced at Xie Xinan and had disliked him for a long time. I will tell on anyone who behaves inappropriately. Xie Xinan looked straight at Pei Xichi. Pei Xichi smiled, but that smile made people shudder. Then I don't need to be polite. Pei Xichi finished speaking and punched Xie Xinan in the face. R. Ji Qingyu was frightened. You're as nagging as my mom. Chen Ci knew that once the eldest brother made a decision, no one could change it. Maybe they are still on the way. I'll call them later. Wei Zishi said, feeling even more uneasy. The Shishir cavalry had prepared for a night attack, but they expected the three men to not dare to come. However, the three men knew that the other side was well prepared, but they were not afraid at all, and their courage and determination can be imagined. I'm afraid the greatest happiness in my life is meeting Leng Mo Ran. Han Anxin suddenly felt that the pain she had suffered in the past was just to exchange for Leng Mo Ran. A few days later, Ling Shushu and his friends returned to China. When they returned to the manor, they brought Jian's father and mother with them. I don't know what happened to her psychologically just now. Going back to the crew with me is definitely the best option. The system's judgment on such things is very simple, which is recognition within the rules and recognition by the audience. Meng Tian's eyes were red, but she still held the rusty sword tightly, guarding Yangshan. Even Du Qianxing and Chen Bai couldn't help but join in the laughter of the crowd. He was very glad to have such a result. At least there is one person who knows how to love and pursue. This is good, there is no so-called sacrifice, and there is no rumored intrigue. I just have the responsibility as your brother, I just have the obligation as a member of the Yang family. Ji Yu got the help of Yi Shaoxian by accident and became the helmsman of the family. He now holds a very high position in the family. Ji Yu led Yi Shaoxian into the mansion through their main gate. The guards, servants, and maids along their way all saluted him. The most important thing is that these so-called servants have good cultivation. Chen you Sholen Ti have come back. The Zhang family and the Li family said that they want your second sister and Chenxi to marry the sons of the elders of Qingyarn sect, otherwise Yang Chen's mother looked haggard at this time, and Yang Yi's face looked even uglier because his injury had not healed. He clenched his teeth tightly. These photos all have one thing in common, that is, Lin Xiaowan is always the one forced to pose in various poses. Wei Yifeng was unhappy when flipping through them. Lin Xiaowan, can't you just smile? Is it difficult to take a photo with him? The wild wolf's body fell to the ground, leaving a big hole on the ground. A generation of strong men in Chilean City died just like that. The treasure thief was shocked. He didn't even notice when someone appeared behind him, so he turned around in surprise and was ready for defense. However, after turning around, he only saw a monk leaning against the door with a piece of grass in his mouth, looking at him with interest, but did not attack him. Seeing Yang Chen, his expression was unusually responsible. He couldn't define whether he hated Yang Chen or not. In some ways, Yang Chen did give him great benefits, but he also controlled him. Although he didn't feel controlled at the moment, Yang Chen shouldn't lie to him. The voice was magnetic and charming. Lin Xiaowan subconsciously let go of his body and hurriedly took a few steps back. Chu Kai also cooperated and let go of his hand. When I first treated him, I was surprised by his special physique. His meridians were wider than those of ordinary people, and he also had dragon veins. If an ordinary person had been injured like him, he would have died more than a dozen times. The strange thing was that some of his meridians were broken, but they were able to gather energy, and it seemed that there was a huge power sleeping in his body. 019 Take them all away. The police arrived quickly, and after finding out that the injured person was the heir of the Xie family, the top leaders of the police station followed. Xie Xiao, are you okay? Otherwise, I'll take you to the hospital first. As for these troublemakers, I'll have them take them back to the police station first. Xie Xinan was in pain all over his body and could not speak. He could only nod. The big boss asked his subordinates to take the people back, and he personally sent Xie Xinan and Ji Qingyu to the hospital. Please. The police said to Pei Xichi and Ji Qingli. Pei Xichi raised his eyebrows, but did not embarrass the policeman. Instead, he followed them. Ji Qingli frowned. Is it related to her? Why does she want to join? The power you have obtained is just given by me. Yi Huan looked at Calvert coldly. Although Calvert is indeed very strong in the tens of millions of people level, he is still not as good as the fallen angel Alcaz. If he can't even compare to the fallen angel Alcaz, how can he be Yi Huan's opponent? Yi Lei was about to enter the Galaxy Palace, and he urgently needed some battles to hone himself and figure out his true limits. Okay. Yu Yuxuan looked at the towering ancient city, and a fierce fighting spirit flashed in his eyes. Cave number 8 in Area 1 rented by Yi Lei and others represents the 8th floor of Area 1. After He Jiao and Lin Mu left the base, the team members looked at each other for a while, then suddenly laughed and discussed the relationship between the two. Lin Qian thought that this formation should be called the Spider Formation, and mentioned it to Xiaosu, but Xiaosu thought the name was not nice and did not adopt it. But before Tony could take a few steps, a whistle sounded, and he flew out. Blood was thrown into the air, and pieces of flesh flew everywhere. When Atoni landed, his legs disappeared completely, and blood flowed from the torn wounds. A smart person will understand it immediately. Ma Jingjing picked up the wine glass and said to Chu Fei, "Brother Chu, please take care of me in the future." Everyone knows who takes care of whom. He held a spoon in one hand and chopsticks in the other, and looked like someone was fighting with him as he wolfed down the food. Jin Bu-Wan inexplicably felt a sense of danger in his heart, which was far beyond the magic weapon that Yi Feng had sacrificed. Gug invited Riley to the secret room. Riley maintained the form of a giant, but although she was 50 meters tall and could be considered a giant, she was only half his height. The indescribable pressure came like a mountain, crushing down and almost filling the entire world. After Fairy Chinchou flew up, her autumn eyes could no longer accommodate anything else but the knife. When Shunqian Prefecture appeared in Yang Fan's eyes again, it seemed a little strange. It was not that the city wall was higher, nor that the blue bricks on it had fallen off. Instead, it was the pile of red, blue, green and blue robes outside the city, which were particularly eye-catching in the bleak autumn wind. At this time, Fang Yang also bowed deeply to the old man to show his respect for the strong. With his strength, he could not see through the old man's realm, which in itself showed that the other party's strength was not simple and definitely beyond imagination. Although it was not the first time she saw the scenery under the sea, Bai Shui still couldn't help but exclaim in amazement. The scene before her made her feel as if she was in the galaxy. "Boss, if you die I will turn you into a ghost." Ghastly appeared beside me. It has not been idle these days. Basically all the people and PMs on this grassland would tremble when they see it. God knows what unscrupulous things it has done. GUGE wants to use the dimensional war to launch Gaia's layout. If he joins the dimensional war like this, with his sensitivity, he will definitely interrupt Gaia's layout. It took 12 days of hard work to break through the siege of more than 30,000 people and make it into the top 10. What an honor it is. For Xiang Yuandong, telling Lin Shui all this might make her feel painful for a while, and Xiang Yuandong himself would also feel painful for a while, but at least, in the future Xiang Yuandong could look Lin Shui in the face, and he no longer had to be afraid of being speechless when facing Lin Shui's questioning. 020 The fist is hard. What's going on? Are you going to leave us alone after bringing us back? Sang Ning was speechless. The Xie family put pressure on us. Ji Qingli said indifferently. This was something that didn't even need to be thought about. After all, Xie Xinan is the heir of the Xie family. How could the Xie family let it go if he was beaten in Jiangcheng? What should we do? We can't be locked up here forever, right? Sang Ning's excitement had passed, and he was really a little tired now. It's okay, I'll take you away in a while. Ji Qingli comforted her. Sang Ning leaned on Ji Qingli's shoulder. Li, I'm fine. I'm just asking. Otherwise, I'll call my dad to pick us up. Mulberry. Yihan looked at the magnificent building in front of him and couldn't help but feel a sense of heroism. This building was the tallest one in the entire Jingju city and looked so domineering and imposing. Wu Waiye had sensed something after Ling Duyu broke the formation. Then he received a message from his two concubines, and knew that something was wrong. He hurried over from the cave on the top of the mountain. Of course, Chen Shui was worried, so he brought his disciples over. After Ling Juyu put the jade box into the storage bag, he was secretly happy. This trip was to help Lao Niu. He didn't expect that there would be such a big benefit waiting for him here. Going through the ghost forest is a way to temper your Dao heart and test its strength. Although it may be dangerous, it will not cost your life. If you can't hold on, you will be ejected automatically. Let the test begin now. Although Uncle Li was unhappy, the test had to continue. After a mechanical introduction, he gave the order to start. The red blood dragon can almost fight two at once and swallow a large purple bird with one mouth. In other words, a red sword light can instantly kill a gun shadow. Qin Ming took out the jade token and placed it in front of him, smiling and letting him come over and take it. Is there no way to change this situation? Hu Tu was confused and began to wander aimlessly in the wilderness, trying to find a way to change this situation. Is death the real end of life? Apart from the previous battle with the Holy Lord's clone, this was the first time he had exerted his strength to the fullest. The two rolled their eyes. This guy was also an old fellow. He was obviously not willing to be under Yi Jingfeng's command. He also had some relationship with Yi Jingfeng. However, if Yi Jingfeng did not have a relationship with all three of their forces, and if Yi Jingfeng was not indeed outstanding, the three of them would not be willing to accept Vice President Xiao's arrangement. Seeing this, the man in black gently loosened his arms that were hugging Zhui Yu, turned around to face the centipede monster, and his eyes instantly turned from gentle to cold, filled with murderous intent. The officers nearby hurried forward to pull the two apart, and several advisors stepped forward to persuade them, saying that they were facing a powerful enemy and should come up with a plan as soon as possible, because if the rebel soldiers outside the door really broke in, they would be finished. Luo Yu's own family loved her very much. Although there were many children in the family, her father and mother did not favor her younger siblings at all. Instead, they cared for Luo Yu more. Liu Fan nodded approvingly. In Liu Fan's mind, the first priority was to ensure their safety, and as for the forces that persecuted them, they could slowly settle accounts later. Test, brother, what kind of test? This is my first time here. Zixian was confused. Why do I need a test to enter the tower? What kind of rule is this? Su Ling was terrified and thought about it thousands of times, but still couldn't figure it out. Suddenly, he remembered Zhang Ju's secret. As Zhang Ju's right-hand man, Su Ling was often involved in Zhang Ju's secrets, and Zhang Ju was almost transparent to him. You're already dead anyway, right? It doesn't matter. Let's try something else. Zhao Yi smiled happily, showing his white teeth. Of course, the theme that people are cheering for must be the annual Longmen ceremony, where the young men who are about to become adults will be baptized by blood and fight bloody battles for the strongest dragon soul. Take the dragon soul. I only ask for death, and I will die today. You have the dragon soul but you don't use it. Do you want to collect my body? Wang Long roared unprecedentedly. His voice was slightly angry, but also mixed with sadness behind the hysteria. 021 I actually want to have sex with you. This time, Pei was completely dumbfounded. Future sister-in-law? Doesn't that mean we haven't caught up yet? He has been with Brother Kai for many years, and has never seen him care about that woman. Miss Ji, let's go. Pei Xichi made a gesture of invitation. Ji Qingli took Sang Ning's hand and walked out. Brother Kai, what's going on? Aren't you at the border dealing with things over there? Why are you here in Jiangcheng? How's the situation in the imperial capital? Pei Xichi did not answer his question, but asked directly. He deliberately stayed away from the imperial capital during this period of time, just to see if some people had learned to be content. Everything is in the pool. The millstone hand shook the void, and 3 assassins fell out and were killed by Jiang Dong with 3 punches. They were from the moon worship sect again. Someone from this sect also tried to assassinate him at Skull Ridge. Jiang Dong hated this assassin organization very much. He was very angry because he had no grudge against them, but they were assassinated one after another. Thank you, Principal. I won't bother you anymore. I have something to do, so I'll leave first. Tu Baobao said goodbye politely to the principal and left the school. Suddenly, this scorching hot breath quickly began to spread from the chest to their whole body. Then a warm current arose from the dantian, quickly flowing to the limbs and bones, and rapidly spreading along every cell and every capillary. Just as that eagle-like body soared into the air, reaching the highest point where it could not rise any higher but was about to fall, she loosened her taut hands. The 2 paladins tied up Vanessa and called someone to come and take care of everything. They finally breathed a sigh of relief. Garler's blood energy surged again, and all the flying demons became hideous with red eyes. Their eyes were originally purple, but now they were stained red with blood. But Yang has played for 30 minutes so far today. That is to say, Yang played for 12 minutes per quarter. In the game, he can only rest for an average of 2 minutes before he has to continue playing. For a rookie, this is undoubtedly a very long playing time. Halfway through the journey, GFA learned that the caravans traveling between Zhu Miao Shop and Li City were not from their own tribe, but from a Fangwa tribe called Yuyi tribe, which specialized in transporting goods. This is command. Major Ishida looked at Captain Takata, who was completely dumbfounded with a smile, and then turned to look at Tanizaki, who was trapped in the snow and struggling. I didn't scare them, these are real facts, they just don't know them. What a joke! How can a mere black fog trap me? Qin Moryu sneered, and the stars pointed out. The spiritual energy around him suddenly became like a wild horse running away from its reins, with thousands of horses galloping and moving in a mighty manner, bringing with it an unstoppable momentum, stirring up the world. Brother! Han Yuqing ran out at this time, but when he looked up, the image of his brother, who had always been so tall and noble in his mind, completely collapsed. On the next day, Lucien was still flying around aimlessly, but suddenly he received a message from 3-inch Nail. Seeing this, Yang Ming took off his coat, draped it over Hanako's shoulders, held Hanako's shoulders and pulled her into his arms. A faint fragrance passed over his nose, leaving a lingering aftertaste. He once went back to the sect and learned about the current situation in Togu. He was unwilling to send troops to conquer the demon cave. Was it just for the sake of his fourth son? The boss used all his strength to run madly in the direction he came from. He didn't want to stay for a moment. As for helping his brothers collect the bodies, that was an idea only ordinary people would have. No. It is said that every time we make a prophecy and try to obtain information from God, it is blocked by some substance. Oswald said helplessly. It's delicious, so delicious, this is the most delicious dish in the world. Chin Moryu said excitedly. Everyone dispersed without caring about other people's suspicions. Chin Maynor hurried to Ruolan's design studio. She had to make her best friend confess today. She solved the problem without making any noise. 022 The ultimate temptation. Ji Qingli's response was also very direct, and he threw a punch. The man reacted quickly, grabbing her hand and bringing her into his arms. Her body is very soft and comfortable to hug. His self-control to reach the heights he has today is something he is always proud of. Over the years, all kinds of women wanted to get into his bed, but he always threw them out without saying a word. However, when he saw her, he had no intention of restraining himself. He wanted her. He wanted her to know his desire very directly. Shameless. Ji Qingli gave him 3 words. What if I say I'm only shameless to you? Pei Xichi said seriously. Prime Minister? This man was nearly 2 meters tall, with a resolute face and cold eyes. He walked in front of Yu Yan, his eyes suddenly emitted a strange look, and he nodded frequently. What if Yi Fei Chongqian, treading snow without traces, and Feng Zhuan Juqian were combined? 2 are Qinggong and 1 is swordsmanship, what would the effect be? The moment the light wave appeared, Chen Bo felt an indescribable oppression in his chest, as if he was being pressed by a huge rock, and it was extremely uncomfortable to breathe. Then, the resentful spirit made a motion of lying on the ground, and at the same time, a hint of cruel blood red flashed in its pair of resentful eyes. Yu Yan's class lasted a whole morning. The brother and sister worked on the questions and explained the examples, which seemed quite realistic. Fang Yu watched happily. For his part, did he need to prepare? This is a very basic magic that controls the water element. It is a versatile magic among basic magics. It can be used for attack, defense, and to assist healing magic. Now Chuyun uses it to solve his water shortage problem. Yinalu's words can be said to be very relaxed, but it made Liu Ting think, is it appropriate for you to do this? Of course, there are always some different opinions in each hot news. Amidst the optimism about the new bottom lane combination, some people are dissatisfied with the team's choice of Adma. N expressed strong doubts about the retired player's decision to make a comeback. After saying that, she rushed directly towards Chuyun. On the surface, she seemed to be irritated by Chuyun's attitude of not taking her seriously at all, but she was secretly delighted in her heart. Fang Zhu looked around blankly and found himself standing at a 3-way intersection. Around this intersection, there were strange rocks everywhere. From somewhere, the howling of wild animals could be heard from time to time. In the dead of night, the sound was so clear and creepy. No one present was a fool. Although Liu Shi showed no emotion and looked very calm, Gao Yang put on such a big show that everyone knew that something big must have happened to the Gao family. Jiu Qingyun was overjoyed when he found out. He knew that if Fang Ziming continued to develop like this, he would definitely be valued when he was transferred back to the capital. The 2 of them had a tacit understanding. Now one was in the local area and the other in the capital, they could support each other, which was good for both of them. Liu Shi nodded, and after they chatted for a while, Liu Shi took the child and Liu Yang to see Empress Dowager Gao. I always feel that after this coming-of-age ceremony. Chen-san, no, Chen Baichi, the nun who was once broken off in Pingling, will never be the same as before. Noticing Mu Chinger's cold expression, Qin Yi said, why don't I go over and take a look? After all, she was a princess, so it shouldn't be difficult for her to ask the prince for someone. Seeing this, Lin Wenyang subconsciously rushed over and hurriedly pressed a certain acupuncture point on her to stimulate her to wake up. He then hurriedly poured a glass of cold water to her mouth and half forced her to drink it. Using your own lack of ability to reject others is a useful excuse. Meng Changjun turned his head and seemed to be talking to Yuan Ping beside him, but his tone was neither salty nor bland, and it was suggestive. Do you have anything else to say? Although she was reluctant to give up talented people, she would not accept threats. He had been away from Meteor Street for a long time, and during that time he had met some innocent and kind people, some of whom gave him food, and some wanted to take him in, but that kind of kindness and help seemed to be selfless. But later, when the other party had a disagreement with him, they would say something asking him to kill the other person. 023 Step on his face. Ji Minghan went to take a shower, and only mother and daughter were left in the living room. Mom, you're amazing. My dad really listens to you. In the past, she was very jealous of Ji Qingli because it was Ji Qingli who took her father away. Obviously she is also dad's daughter, but she has such a hard life. And what about Ji Qingli? She is the little princess of Jiangcheng. No one dares to say anything against her even though she is willful and reckless. At that time, she had to force herself to become Ji Qingli's friend. Every second with Ji Qingli was torture for her. Fortunately, everything is fine now. The person Ji Qingli likes has become her fiancé. And she is about to enter the graduate school and become the envy of everyone. A moment later, the waiter returned with a tray on which sat a plate of pastries and 2 cups of green drinks. After placing these things on the table, the waiter bowed slightly to Zi Yuan again and then slowly left. Just when Yi Feng wanted to stop Yao Guang looked up at Lu Qianzhao. Boom! There was a roar of thunder, the wind and clouds changed color, and a thick lightning bolt fell from the sky and struck Lu Qianzhao. Lan Linger was silent. In her previous life, she lived in a lie of love. In this life, she was destined not to believe in love anymore, but she also understood the pain of not getting it. But she couldn't blame anyone. This was fate. She should always make her own choices. That's why I will share everything with you, think of you when I do something, and tell you any secrets in my heart. He had not attended court for several days due to catching a cold, and now he had just finished taking his medicine and was lying on the couch with his eyes closed to rest. But as soon as Jingqiu started to practice his skills, he showed different signs of behavior and even wanted to fly out of Wu Ting's hands. Mauzi, what happened? Who broke your hand? Li Ping asked doubtfully. Great. I can drink with Sister Delia. I wonder how many people will envy me. Ming Mo smiled faintly as he looked at Delia pouring wine for him. Is there any connection between Xiao Yaozi and Zhejiang? Lan Linger thought of the man in black that Mo Lin saw in the palace. She always thought that was Xiao Yaozi. This tone of voice really made people feel extremely arrogant, but the two of them did not think that there was anything wrong with him at all, because the young man in front of them definitely had an arrogant nature. I didn't dare refute anything Mu Maiqing said. After all, I was the one who made the mistake first. The girl with the scarf next to me did the same as me and didn't say a word. As soon as the young man got off the car, he started talking to Chen Yuan's friends. When those social cancers saw someone coming, they stopped joking and cursing and seemed to be discussing something. Mr. Ma, I have already told you the origin of the ring. Now it's your turn, right? Ling Xiao looked at Ma Longyi, waiting for him to speak. Ling Xiao drew it on the notebook, and a spider web was completed. His sight was fixed on the round rock, his eyes flashing with excitement. Master Yilang, what's wrong with you? Are you okay? Next to Yilang was a Lucario, who was looking at his master with a worried look on his face. At this time, the phone rang again. I saw it was Zhizi. I didn't target this bitch today, but he must have felt bad. You want me to experience your Shuqian illusion? Har tilde. I don't think that's necessary. I come here just to see you. Although the Shuqian illusion is powerful, it can't give me any help. Just as the great demon king was about to take action, Ling Xiao's eyes had already transformed into the 9 Gaoyu Samsara eye. Maya, wearing a yellow skirt, was clumsily holding a swaddled baby, making sing sounds and teasing the child. Baoshi stood beside her and watched with a happy smile on his face. This night of passionate chat also laid the foundation for the revival of our relationship. I couldn't believe that after such a long period of silence, the scarf girl and I had become good friends again. The Ren family is really awesome, so awesome. You know, things like bows and crossbows are all regulated, especially some things that have been tempered specifically to deal with strong people above the supernatural power realm. The Ren family actually has so many of them. 024 like a devil. Xie Xinan, do you want to die? Just when Xie Xinan was at a loss, the man picked him up and pushed him onto the guardrail by the river. Behind him was the surging river, and in front of him was this dangerous man. I'll give you money, no matter how much you want, I'll give it to you. Xie Xinan suddenly thought of a solution. I'll give you enough money, so that you don't have to go to places like the border again. Oh. It was the first time that Pei Xichi encountered someone throwing money at him. Give me money. Mum. Xie Xinan nodded in panic. He couldn't die here. He is the heir of the Xie family, he is. Sula stared at it for a while, and then thought, how can he get close to Zhao Baiming? Help me look for it, mobilize your strength. I believe there is nothing you can't do around Jiangcheng, said the king of Zhenan. In the city bureau's command room, Wang Chao's voice came through the loudspeaker on the telephone. Everyone gathered around the square table to listen. When they heard the location, someone couldn't help but speak. Lin Chen's voice was calm and long, as if it came from ancient times, expanding on a power that humans are born with. Xing Zonglian looked back at his friend sitting on the sofa, watching Lin Chen speaking slowly in the sun. He had never felt more strongly than now. Lin Chen was really good, very, very good. Shichanzai suddenly opened his eyes, and his long armor scraped against the stool, making a sharp and piercing sound. Since Yi Chen was willing to take action twice for Sula, it means that Sula definitely occupies a very important position in his heart. Let's talk about it first if he dares to fight me. Zheng Feng snorted. He was completely disdainful of Ding Feng. Ding Feng's strength was far inferior to Gan Ning's. Zhao Jingyi suddenly threw Lin Shi upwards slightly, and his body suddenly flew into the air. The feeling of weightlessness scared him so much that he subconsciously hugged Zhao Jingyi's neck. The subway car is full of people, office workers. Crowded with students coming home from school, the air was filled with the unique smell of egg waffles, leather and resin seats, a mixture of odors and stuffiness. When Guan Yu saw that both wings of Cao's army had been lost, he knew it was a good opportunity, and immediately urged his subordinates to launch a fierce attack, which defeated Cao's army in the front in one fell swoop and rushed in to rescue Jutai. Shuemang was unmoved, as if she was stunned. I frowned and used the 5 directions fortune-seizing move. This move has a sealing effect. Let's see what the effect is after hitting her. Ever since Jiangcheng came, Lone Wolf has pushed almost all the tasks onto Jiangcheng. As for me, I am a complete hands-off boss. Whatever comes up, the Zombie King will handle it. I can just stay where I want. Jiangcheng naturally knew all this, but he didn't say it out loud. Frowning, thinking. Who made this rouge goose breast and that ham and duck soup? Mu Shuefu looked at one of the maids, pointed at the 2 dishes, and asked. This palm contains the power of the world-destroying fire. If it is pressed hard, even a mountain will be burned to ashes. During the discussion, someone set his sights on the 6 places Zhu Liang had obtained. All of a sudden, Mu Shuefu felt as if she had 2 more children, each more difficult to deal with than the other. This is like searching for a wrecked ship in space, which is definitely much more difficult than searching on the ocean, because the ocean can be simply understood as a 2-dimensional world, while 3-dimensional and 2-dimensional are not comparable on the same level. Among the crowd, Yulin might be puzzled, but Xie Zishuan and Li Qian knew that Chen Fei had an aloof personality and was not the kind of person who would easily accept help. Whoever did him a favor, Chen Fei would definitely repay him as soon as he had the chance. Let's just inherit the will of my father and mother. Zhu Liang said slowly after taking a deep breath. Ma Shuyao looked at Wang Pengfei, who remained unmoved no matter what, and immediately gritted her teeth. It seemed that this guy would definitely not help them if they didn't tell them about that matter. They had already inquired about the strength of Donghai City, which was nothing more than the 4 heavenly kings of the alliance, and the strongest among them was the 8-armed fighting king. 025 Wild. Xie Xinan only felt a headache. The feeling of choking on water was not good. Until now, his throat was still burning with pain. He literally nearly drowned. And the man kept watching. Xie Xinan, I'm talking to you. Can't you hear me? What's wrong with you? You disappoint me so much. Your father is like this, and you are like this too. What kind of love potion did Jiyu Lanqing and her daughter give you? Xie's mother was hysterical. Jiyu Lanqing ruined her life, and her daughter is going to ruin his son. Mom, this is a matter between Ji Qingli and me, don't worry about it, I will solve it myself. Xie Xinan finally spoke, but what he said was. All the security guards present pointed their pistols at Differ. I broke into a cold sweat for Differ, really worried that he would be killed on the spot by the dozens of security guards present. Mohan. Reject. Lin Hanshi frowned. In fact, she felt that Fang Linger and Mohan were quite compatible, as they were both talkative. Caillou, like Shinong, also had a human face and an ox head, and was born with wings. He was the leader of the ox totem and bird totem clans. He had 81 brothers, all of whom had copper heads and iron foreheads, 8 arms and 9 toes, and extraordinary abilities. The man raised his hand and gently blocked it, and Li Ning felt like he had punched cotton. The man was also surprised. Although he just blocked it casually, he could still feel that Li Ning's punch was full of power. A look of satisfaction flashed in his eyes, and he praised, "Good. Ah Xiao, don't touch this with your greasy hands. I'll give it to a Shuang later." Bai Yang saw Lei Xiao reaching out for the plate of mung bean cakes and quickly opened his hand. Many monks opened their eyes again, only to see a huge light curtain appear in front of the square, flashing a faint white light. They couldn't see what was behind it, like a portal to the unknown. When a person's left teeth tap the 8 sounds, they create the golden bell. When the right teeth tap the 8 sounds, they create the jade chime. When the front teeth tap the 8 sounds, they create the dharma drum. The total of 3 8s is 24, corresponding to the 24 chi. The soldiers from the K-279 unit who rushed in from the south to help were still quite far away, but they were entangled. Tang Yin naturally didn't know that Xu Zheng brought 20 elite members of the Apocalypse Plan B. Those guys who came from the medical team directly entangled the K-279 troops. The carved relief patterns on the bed were unusually delicate and well-proportioned, and a strong medicinal aroma filled the room. Looking ahead, there were a few elegant irises placed by the windowsill, and a set of green glazed teacups printed with black plums on the table. She said that I had revealed my face in front of millions of people and that she was no longer worthy of a star like me, so she wanted to break up with me. Red Pants took his phone and handed it to Do Wei, explaining. The second one says, Kunlun Void in the sea is in the northwest, the capital of the emperor. Kunlun Void is 800 miles square and 10,000 feet high. There is a wooden grass on top, 5 feet long and 5 feet wide. There are 9 wells with jade thresholds. There are 9 gates on the front, each guarded by an enlightened beast. It is the place where all the gods reside. It is located in the rock of Bayou, at the edge of the Red River. Only Ren Yi can climb up the rock. Looking at Wang Shifeng, who was forcing herself to smile again, some people thought that the storm had passed and everything would be fine, like Bayou. At some point a high platform was built, made of wood, with a candle placed at each corner. The pupil of Jiangcheng's left eye changed into a narrow and thin line, just like the pupil of the legendary phoenix, filling the sky. But when Gaoxing and the Taoist priest returned to their residence, they put down the bags on their backs and opened them to find that they were filled with a bag of gold and silver. It's true. The invigilator told me that as long as I paid 500 taels of gold, he would guarantee that I would pass the exam and become the top scorer. However, I did not agree to his request, said Liang Xinhui. Tong Yao's mood was written all over her face. She was full of worry. She held her chin with her hands, watching her classmates busying around, but she didn't intend to move at all. The old man gestured downward, and the scene suddenly became quiet. Then the old man made a pleased gesture to Do Wei. Above the head of the blueprint man, who was living a peaceful life, the originally tranquil blue sky and white clouds suddenly disappeared, and were replaced by a colorful and strange scene. 026 You only need to be responsible for me. Ji Qingli came to Four Seasons Group, however, no one there paid any attention to her. Today, Four Seasons Group is the world of Ji Minghan and Anshin. Ji Qingli was thrown to the border for 5 years and probably didn't even go to college. How could such a person possibly compare to the shrewd Ji Minghan and her Anshin, who graduated from Imperial Capital University? Ji Minghan knew in the morning that Ji Qingli had been released. He originally thought that Ji Qingli would at least be locked up, but he never expected that she would be released last night. However, what if we let it out? These two projects are indeed difficult, but as the person in charge of Four Seasons Group, no matter how difficult the project is, as long as he wants, there are people to help him do it. When Su Xiang heard this, she never expected Qi Ling to make such a promise. Her eyes widened in surprise and she didn't know what to do. Yuan Lang's face became even uglier as he inadvertently recalled the tragic death of his uncle. Although Lin Yunran did not take off the ring, she did not have any other reaction. She turned over and closed her eyes. You're welcome, young lady. You're really too polite. Boss Liu looked at Su Jin with a smile. Yun Simi said seriously that this Ndingwo already has some potential to go astray. How could he regard himself as a human being? They totally treat him as a god. If too much power is in the hands of a person and there is nothing to restrain it, the only thing it can do is to destroy others and use them for its own benefit. After hearing this, even He Mumming, who was always known for his expressionless face, changed his expression. Su Yang, it is very likely that they are really in danger, or they are in Zhu Kang's hands. Xiao Jiuhui said helplessly. Xiao Yunshan did as he said and emptied out everything in her backpack. Except for a bottle of drinking water, the rest were her personal belongings. Using the moonlight and candlelight, Li Qianlu saw a young man in front of him, about 20 years old, with an above-average build and a yellow-white mirror. He has a handsome face and wears luxurious clothes. As soon as the warm words fell, Lin Yunran's eyes sparkled, flowing with emotions that were difficult to fathom. Well, Pang Zhao believed that she was on vacation, but it was possible to go on vacation when one was not in a good mood. Feeling the aura of power released by Luo Yun, Luo Feng was able to detect the fluctuations of the power of the laws. So what about now? Do you think your ability allows it? He didn't think there was anything wrong with her reason. He was just asking about something he was more concerned about. The golden elixir was running at full capacity to absorb this violent force. Fortunately, the power in the Xingzhen pill did not need to be refined and was directly absorbed into the golden elixir and converted into magic power. Nanhe himself might not have been aware of that emotion, but when he felt it, he was ecstatic and couldn't suppress the smile at the corners of his lips. Ji Ruohua knew that these devil believers were obviously chasing the rock and earth giant. When they saw the rock and earth giant being killed on the ground, they looked at each other in confusion for a while. After a while of chattering, they focused their attention on Ji Ruohua, who still felt incredible about his own power. Some people have heard that the eldest prince had fought with Emperor Yi and had the upper hand, so they think that the eldest prince will definitely win. No, I'm tired of the scenery there. Even if there is something new, it will definitely be boring. No, you have to take me to see new places. The black shadow simply refused to leave. Boom, a sword light flashed into the sky. He stared at the place where Bo Yenher disappeared with a cold face. The hand holding the sword tightened a little unconsciously, and even trembled because he used too much force. Zhu Xingnan also decided to get familiar with Ji Ruohua. For a gifted child like Lin Feng, if he does not die halfway, his future is limitless, so it is a good decision to get familiar with him as soon as possible. Thinking of this, Chen Fan walked and waved his hand to instantly go through a large number of martial arts in the Invincible Mall. Looking at the dazzling array of martial arts, the names of these martial arts were extremely mysterious, and the levels were definitely the best of the best. 027 Do you really have no feelings for him? Lin personally posted the recruitment information on the recruitment website. Now, she is a lone commander and can only recruit people on her own. After layers of screening, 5 people were finally left. Ji Qingli went to meet them in person. Seeing that the 2 persons in charge were so young, the 5 people were unsure. Mr. Ji, are there only 7 of us for such a big project? Moreover, Mr. Ji is a shareholder and will not be personally involved in this project, which means that there are only 6 of them. Ji Qingli was looking through their information. Lin was indeed trustworthy in her work. These 5 people have their own characteristics. Their only shortcoming is that they have just graduated from college and have no experience. Yeah, just the 7 of us. Season. I saw that Haoqian's arms were cut off. In front of him was Yang Yun with a fierce look in his eyes and a dagger with a cold glow in his hand. I stand on a tall building, the gentle spring breeze blows towards me, and I look far into the distance, endless sorrow fills the sky. The setting sun shines obliquely, the grass is hazy, who can understand my feelings as I lean against the railing silently. What surprised Lu Shuahua even more was that also coming were the Allied Commander General Stilwell and Chief of Staff Lieutenant General Hearn. While Taizheng and others in the castle were worried and had no idea what to do, the entire jungle fell into chaos. After countless forces poured into the dark jungle, they finally understood how the word regret was created. Xu Shiji knew Shuiyun's temper, so he understood very well that Shuiyun must have something going on at this moment. In other people's words, no one comes to visit you for no reason. When Haozi saw Li Nan's formation, he immediately cried out that he had been fooled, but things had come to this point and he had no choice. What you get in the end is not luck. It is the painstaking efforts in the beginning that lead to the seemingly accidental encounter in the end. Just as everyone fell into silence, Wu Deming suddenly exclaimed, interrupting the temporary silence. A bright red fatal blow flew over the head of the iron-blood member, and then the sharp sword pierced through again. The iron-blooded gang member's heart was struck by fatal damage, and he fell to the ground unwillingly without even having time to scream. Behind him was Yi with a stern face. Su Wei was shocked by Su Ran's words. He immediately knelt down and said, "Master, Su Wei can be where he is today because of you. Su Wei is only loyal to you. I hope you can understand." After saying that, Su Wei guiltily glanced at Su Ran, who had walked to the table, and asked him to sit down. "Since the tree wants to be still but the wind doesn't stop, then I will stop the wind." His eyes gradually became cold. He and thousands of other people will convert paper materials collected from all over the world into electronic files in the shortest possible time, all the information going back thousands of years. Although she usually did all kinds of evil things like eating, drinking, playing, fighting, and going to bars, at most she would bully those she didn't like, but she had never killed anyone. That living person died just like that, and her hands were shaking. Yang Weiwei didn't know what to say for a moment and looked at Lin Weiner for help. There are various paintings on the walls and ceiling of this room, and the style of these paintings is very strange. Feng Lishi was busy cooking noodles, but the pot of strange colored stuff was really an eyesore. In comparison, the lamprey stargazing pie was considered quite handsome. 4 days was too short a time, so the effect was not very obvious. It only made her a little plumper. Why didn't he want to go to the hospital? Did he do something that made him afraid to go to the hospital for fear of embarrassment? The location chosen by Yukari was next to the ghost princess Yuko. Speaking of which, she and Yuko did have a very good relationship. Even if it was a threesome, it could be carried out without any hindrance, shame or morality, of course. While it was going on, the shouts of Yomu, who was practicing swordsmanship next door, were very frustrating. After saying that, he rushed to where the 5 ghosts were, opened his mouth and bit them. At this critical moment, Yu spat out several mouthfuls of blood, endured the severe pain in his chest, and used a swift shadow step to the extreme, like a ghost, to rescue the 5 ghosts, making his conspiracy fail. 028 Do you want it? Go to the hotel. Sang, I don't like trouble, but feelings are the most troublesome thing in this world. Sang Ning knew that she didn't believe in love, but he didn't expect it to be so serious. Lily, not all men are like your father. Because of Ji Minghan, will she never dare to fall in love again in her life? Sang, I won't place my hope on any man. All men are like this. They are very nice when they are pursuing you, but when they get tired of you, they become completely different. Ji Qingli went back with 2 condiments. Give him the one that was specially made for Pei Xichi. I'm not very good at making dip either, I hope you don't mind. Pei Xichi saw the seasoning dish. The salesperson who served Fang Yuan was squeezed in the middle, looking helpless and speechless, which was very subtle. Lin Shi didn't care. After brainwashing the dark evil god with the mind gem, with this world boss in charge of Jiangcheng, plus Shirai Kuroko, who was enough to deal with various situations, the main body could completely get away and do what he had always wanted to do. Of course, the most important thing is General Chen today. As a general holding military power, in the upcoming battle for the throne, if he has such a stain, he can take advantage of the imperial impeachment to hand over the military power and take the opportunity to retire. The problem was that they almost caused a disaster. If anything happened to the princess, they would have died because of their negligence. In 2 days, please ask Lord Hongjian to go to Longhu Town to stop Ling Fei's plan. The fortune teller looked at the spinning compass in his hand and said softly. Seeing Ling Fei's calm expression and a hint of smile on his face, Lao Mao didn't say anything, but secretly winked at Wang Yong. Li Ying, I admire you. And I remember your beautician was the most famous one before. How could she just watch you eat like that? Do you have a grudge against her? Although Bai Feng is a companion artificial intelligence, Fang Yuan knows that she should not rely too much on him. Will develop laziness. Before the apocalypse, Jiangcheng was a typical otaku who was very familiar with the second dimension. Wang Wei was a fighting game enthusiast. Both of them recognized Hua Lingmeng. Why did Beifang Chiji become Hua Lingmeng? Well, although they look exactly the same, they are not from the same system at all. Of course Yarnshir didn't know that this was the suggestion of Mo Qingmai, the most low-key person in the palace, but he still saw the hidden danger. Yes. The densely packed disciples behind him nodded in response and dispersed in all directions. The man originally wanted to have a secret talk with Fan Gongming, but when he saw that the visitor was Fan Gongming's eldest son, he finally reluctantly agreed to discuss things with Fan Feng. A large amount of blood rushed out from the pool of blood on the ground, flew towards the moonlight and wrapped his body tightly in the blood. But what makes Locke feel helpless is that the more mysterious and unknown the area is, the more attractive it is to Lilith. The inventor of the ghost and the Hercules fist could not help but smile bitterly. It was really ironic that they were so powerful during their lifetime, but after their death, they experienced such treatment. When are you planning to leave? After Yi Yang had gotten familiar with everyone present, Li Mingqiang nodded secretly and asked. She heaved a sigh of relief when she saw Jiangxie enter the formation. Although she knew very well that this might be the last time she and Jiangxie would meet, she knew that if Jiangxie left earlier, he would have more time to leave Suzaku Kingdom and would have a greater chance of surviving Huang Shanzhong's pursuit. Self-frenzy release. In just a moment, the wolf was covered by the blue light rising into the sky, and then the wolf turned into a werewolf. However, unlike ordinary werewolves, it had 3 wolf heads and 8 wolf hands. When Locke arrived at this medium-sized cultivation world called Sifangji, the newly promoted saint, Bai Mai Zhenren, personally came to greet Locke with his disciples. Unfortunately, there are so many unpredictable methods in the star realm. At least the alien sealing technique of the ancient crocodile king Piacenza cannot be cracked by the current strong people in the wizard world and the fairyland. 029 begging for mercy. Hearing her say this, Pei Xichi was in a good mood. Woman, you have vision. Pei Xichi put his arm around Ji Qingli's waist and looked at Xie Xinan, who was almost angry to death. What's the point of being handsome? Is he rich? Can he give you the best life? As long as he is by my side, this is the best life. You don't understand. Ji Qingli glanced between the man's legs with disdain. She didn't need to say anything, just that look was enough to make Xie Xinan angry. This woman, she was questioning his ability. They were still young when they were together, and Ji Qingli wouldn't let him touch her at all. She had no idea how good he was in bed. Lopez's departure left the Nets with no room to struggle in the second quarter. Even the Nets coach felt that they had no room to struggle. Originally, this was a serious crime punishable by confiscation of property and death, but the prince was unwilling to kill Yue, so he sent elite men to look for Yue. She seemed to be clueless, pitiful, and as if she was not fully sane. Was she really the source of the destruction of God? He has always supported the plan of universal extraterrestrial migration, but this plan has not been accepted by people for the past decade or so and has few supporters. Although they sent troops, it was a misunderstanding before the matter was understood. Now they can prove that Hua Yu had a sacred tree hundreds of years ago. So where did Xingting's sacred tree go? This smile was extremely ironic. The prime minister had been cuckolded all his life, and his only bloodline was killed. But for the sake of his official position, he dared not speak out. Even when Lin Sen left the court, their offense still maintained a high threat. The Cavaliers also made adjustments when Lin Sen left the court, replacing Titi with Fry, which was obviously to increase the Cavaliers' offensive space. Yes, yes. Chen Lili responded. She was so nervous that she couldn't speak clearly. But out of trust in He and the others, she still answered like this. He stared blankly at the watch that the silver wing had turned into, then walked into the bedroom, changed his clothes, and prepared to go out. Young master, at this time, all the members of the Don Quixote pirates were looking at Da Flamingo worriedly. When Tang Feng heard what Hao Tsongming said, he slowly lowered his head, clenched his hands, and didn't know what he was thinking. Arnold was anxious but helpless. He knew the captain's character very well. Although he said nothing more on the surface, he was unwilling in his heart. The white-haired young man nodded slightly, as if in agreement, and then stopped talking and continued to look at the martial arts stage. Yi Shuang's heart skipped a beat, and just when he was about to speak out in objection, the distance between them widened again. Then, what he had to face was Lian Nishan's water-like attack, but Yi Shuang just waved his hand subconsciously. He heard Lian Nishan scream, and then he ran away without looking back. Because Zhu Jiuhui helped Ji Yu Qinyor enter the Poseidon ship, he was not on guard and told the truth. Lin Pingji was in a very bad mood now, and he urgently needed a fight. For example, the old monk in front of him was a good opponent, so he had no intention of hiding anything and directly expressed his thoughts. The strong earthquake frequency blade dispersed the falling rain, and in a flash of real cold light of the night, it directly passed through the judge who had no time to process the information. And it is quite a coincidence that they are both professionals. Lin Xiu thought that some flaws would be revealed, but after a closer look, Tanya and Jiangxu are exactly the same type of people. Of course, this was the ambition that emerged when Bruce accidentally fell into the four-dimensional space after years of traveling in space. At first, he never considered such a brain-burning problem, but if immortality is feasible, he will try it at all costs. Staring at the dense crowd of spectators on the stands, Zhang Qianyang felt a surge of blood burning in his heart. Today, soon, the moment for our Zhang family to prove ourselves to the world will come. 030 He is seducing her. After dealing with Xie Nun, Pei Xichi was in a good mood. The two were walking along the river bank. Ji Qingli walked in front, the wind blew her long hair, and the women's suit was well-fitting, outlining her perfect waist. Pei Xichi couldn't take his eyes off her. Ji Qingli turned around and saw him looking at her obsessively. At that moment, Ji Qingli's heart was beating so fast. Being looked at with such affectionate eyes by such a handsome man, no woman could remain indifferent. The moment Ji Qingli looked back at him was deeply engraved in Pei Xichi's mind. When the beauty looks back, the scene is so beautiful and alluring. He walked towards her step by step. Xiao Qing felt that Birmingham could no longer hold on, and he also anticipated that the team was about to score a goal. Birmingham had been suppressed to a limit, and Arsenal naturally did not need to be polite now, they only needed to open a gap, and then Birmingham might be completely defeated. What exactly is the sixth-day organization? What is our mission? Wang Anquan followed Ari Meng into the SUV and asked as the SUV rushed to the next target. In order to understand the organization he had just joined, Wang Anquan had to find a chance to ask. At this time, Zhong Feng had already opened the envelope and took out a photo and a piece of letter paper from it. I will avenge this, and Zhanlong will pay the price he deserves. I will take care of this matter, and you just do your own thing. After you send Fei Chui and the others to Yi Wei Yarn, stay there and take care of them. I will notify you if there are any other actions. Ari Meng said with a cold light flashing in his eyes. In fact, as early as the moment the mysterious man suddenly appeared from the rooftop and pointed a sniper rifle at by phone, Zhong Feng made two guesses about this mysterious identity. R. Su Yang's body trembled, her expression a little surprised. She never expected that there were words on the back of the envelope. Cold. You nodded and immediately took out the talisman of 10,000 beasts. Under the moonlight, the talisman emitted a strange light. Chief, there are a lot of monsters and new humans rushing towards us, the signal man suddenly said to Ari Meng at this time. Not long after he finished speaking, fierce gunfire broke out. These gunfire sounded from all directions, almost instantly burying other sounds. Old Tang and his companions had caught up with the high elf civilians who had left 2 days ago. These weak civilians were moving very slowly and were easily caught up by the advancing army. Xu Ruqing really couldn't believe it. The communist army only had the strength of an army. In a one-on-one situation, how could my 57th army be defeated by the communist army? What's more, the 57th army also had a very powerful 203rd division. Xie Yuren's beautiful eyes lit up and she said in a sweet voice, "It's a deal." When she said this, her face was full of joy. This night is destined to be a sleepless night for many people. Although the internet is just a virtual space, it is also constructed by every real person in the real world. Therefore, once the information on the internet breaks through a certain critical point, it can also have an impact on the real world. No, you are still so considerate and gentle. Tang Jingyi smiled and took Yi Ziming's arm. Yi Ziming's arm passed between Tang Jingyi's proud breasts, and the surprisingly soft touch made him raise his eyebrows. What Emperor Shiqian said was right, he was from the immortal realm. He was sent to this native barbarian land because he offended the Buddha. Firstly, the Alps were difficult to cross in winter. Secondly, a large number of Serbian mercenaries suddenly appeared in the direction of Venice. 15 minutes later, Jiang Hao saw that the time was almost up, so he directly issued the absorption order to the 14 impatient devouring beasts. Especially the 3 monks guarding the gate. After hearing the loud noise, they quickly spread their spiritual sense to explore the surroundings. They saw that the spiritual energy of the surrounding heaven and earth was fluctuating violently, just like ripples on the calm water, spreading outwards in waves. 031 Still not asleep. I have been in the G family for so many years. Even if I have no merit, I have worked hard. Miss, please forgive me. The housekeeper was really scared. It's okay to be scared. Don't talk nonsense. You know better than anyone what happened 5 years ago. It's easy for me to let you go. Just tell me everything about how you helped Ji Minghan and Shinframe my mother. When the incident of 5 years ago was mentioned, the housekeeper's face turned ugly. Miss, I don't understand what you are saying. The butler denied it flatly. No matter what happened back then, 5 years have passed and now, Ji Minghan is his master. How could he betray his master? Boss, give me a glass of kumquat lemon, thank you. Shen Yuan Shuai said loudly to the owner of the ice drink shop. He looked extremely unattractive, with sparse hair that had already exposed his scalp, a weathered face, and eyes tightly squinted, as if he had not yet woken up or was unable to open them wide. He had a hunched back and was holding a palm leaf fan in his hand, slowly shaking it back and forth. In a trance, Zhao Shen saw chrysanthemums blooming all over the summoner's rift. At the same time, the voice of Riot Master rang in his mind again. In the past half-month, Wei Ziqing always asked Yun Mo or Yun Jinglei and others to take a small number of people to challenge each other, and retreat if they could not win. Their attitude was like that of a child playing a game. This made Yun Lei very puzzled and at the same time felt aggrieved. I heard from Xiao Wei that my brother obtained the Dharma Eye because old man Hanxing had gone to great lengths to imprison a strange beast, the Yin-Yang Earth Hound, which possessed the power of the Dharma Eye in the Mohist mechanism. Then, with the help of Grandma Xingzi and Uncle Chen Hongdao, my brother forcibly took the eyes of the Yin-Yang Earth Hound and thus gained the Dharma Eye. Kai Nome stopped running forward. His body swayed, and after a moment, he rolled his eyes and fell on his back. The beggar immediately raised his fist and slapped him directly. Titu's face tilted to one side, and tears oozed from the corner of his mouth. Blood, but just wouldn't let go. Qin He and Chen Shui Yihan were on the same stage. They clasped their fists to each other, and Chen Shui Yihan slowly raised the long sword in his hand that had never been unsheathed. Qingju smiled and propped up the tightly closed window. Yu Qianqi looked over and saw an extremely wide field where countless men in uniform iron armor, holding weapons, were training in an orderly manner. From time to time, they would shout in unison, causing the earth to shake, as if thousands of horses were galloping past. Although most of the people who benefited from this were unaware of Aldridge's efforts and contributions, the enthusiastic fishmongers had great respect for the scavenger President Tries. Even the famous fish bosses nearby looked at him with admiration and believed that he had the potential to become a big boss. In the first year of Xinghe, Marji took advantage of the opportunity when Song dynasty envoy Tongguan visited the Liao kingdom to secretly meet with Tongguan and proposed a plan to recover the 16 prefectures of Yuyun. The impact of this plan on the political situation in the late Northern Song dynasty was no less than the Longzhong plan of dividing the world into 3 parts. After hearing this, both of them showed surprise in their eyes. This big and strong man who looked like a chef was actually a cultivator. When they heard him call them fellow Taoists before, they thought he was just being polite, but they didn't expect that they were really a fellow cultivator. He also didn't expect that Zhang Xiang's martial arts were so high. He guarded the gate and relied on the powerful crossbowman behind him to prevent himself and Niu Jiao from taking a single step forward. There is no other way. There are only so many resources on hand. The cavalry not only has to harass the ground formation, but also has to be responsible for charging. Therefore, Zhao Hao made a 1-month appointment, which was like sending money. In Jiangning City, every inch of land was worth a lot of money. He got a top-notch restaurant for free. How much more impressive would he be in front of his ancestors? Of course. If you were the kind of person who just wanted to gild yourself, you wouldn't come here. Xiong Qian Jin suddenly couldn't help laughing. Zhuge Jin suddenly mentioned the great Qin kingdom. Except for Jiaoshu, Fa Zheng, and Marteng and Mar Yu who had been in Liang province for decades, who reacted immediately, the rest of the people did not quite understand. People like Zhao Yun only vaguely remembered that there seemed to be a great Qin kingdom in the far west. 032 I will accompany you no matter what you want to do. I'll come find you. She only said, and he felt distressed. Someone from the Ji family bullied her. Don't want. Ji Qingli refused. What was he doing here so late at night? Then come to me. I have a lot of good wine here. You can come and have a taste. I don't want to drink. Then I'll accompany you in whatever you want to do. She can do whatever she wants. Okay, pick me up at the door in 10 minutes. After hanging up the phone, Pei Xichi drank the red wine in the goblet in one gulp. Walked to the closet. He spent a long time choosing but still had no idea which one to wear. To be honest, he had never had such a problem before. And now. However, there are satellites everywhere in the sky above the Earth. To build such a city, it is necessary to install reflective baffles like the SHIELD space carrier. This promotion was a result of luck, but also of hard work and striving to gain forgiveness from our fellow brothers and sisters. Zhan Wushuang. A voice as clear as a wind chime came into his ears. His mind became a little clearer and he looked in the direction of the sound. A pitch-black, strange magic sword rushed towards the pale man like a long rainbow, whistling violently in the air. There was a faint aura of annihilation emanating from the blade. For a moment, everyone on the field was shocked. The Blood Princess rolled up and jumped up, with a wisp of messy long hair draped down in front of her forehead, which made her look more aggressive. She first flapped her wings to blow away the dust on her body, and then thought of the previous scene. She couldn't help but feel shocked and angry, but her strength was inferior to others after all, so she could only snort coldly. Zhan Wushuang took a deep breath. The person who came was actually a 9th-level peak warrior. He did not dare to be careless. He sped up and crashed into Zhao Zilong like a flash of lightning. Seeing that she was indeed as easy to talk to as Fu Chen said, Zhao Beier felt relieved and told her about Fu Chen's bone injury. Su Xiling was also in the field. He drew his sword angrily and rushed towards Ning Yuanjing. Their head was about to be chopped off, but was blocked by the sword that flew out of the house. This girl is really extremely sensitive. Maybe it's because she is an ancient person. As a princess, I'm afraid she has never had any contact with any man other than her father. The big man with platinum wings on his back had a ferocious look on his face and said coldly, and the monsters including Wu Tai in the back immediately dispersed. The fog was getting thicker and thicker, and only a few dozen meters ahead could be seen. Yin Lai stopped the team, counted the number of people, and asked everyone to continue on their way, but they would report the situation every 2 minutes. That makes sense. Upon hearing this, several powerful men from the Heavenly Palace nodded, seeming to understand, as if they had received a reasonable explanation. The bloodthirsty impulse burst out, and Chen Jin no longer suppressed the throbbing in his heart. Instead, he let nature take its course and acted accordingly. At this time, with the buffer of time, the tense atmosphere slowly dissipated, and everyone raised their glasses and drank them all. Because at such a close distance, the sword energy of the demon disciple could easily reach Tan Tai Yubo, and at such a close distance, the two sides were fighting hand to hand, and Tan Tai Yubo needed to be distracted to avoid defense and could not fully display the sword cultivator's expertise in long-range attacks. I was just about to back out when Chen Yao suddenly grabbed me and pointed the light at the dense grass not far away. This is a protracted war, which is what Zhang Qianxing dislikes the most. What he likes most is a quick battle and a quick decision, just like a gun duel like a Western cowboy. Whoever is killed first loses. He did not bother to check what was happening behind him. He flashed to the left without looking back, leaving a series of afterimages in the void. The devouring true dragon opened its bloody mouth and charged towards the soul-devouring beast, instantly causing the soul-devouring beast to spit out blood and its bones to shatter. There are many nobles in Luoyang, and they are all rich. Since Dongzhuo came, he has allowed his men to plunder at will. You are the one who caused the incident in the Soul Realm. Bailey Juyue said with certainty. It was simply a statement of fact. 033 Pei Xichi, don't seduce me. He whispered something in the Chinese boxer's ear. The bustling boxing gym was silent at this moment, but no one knew what she said. I won. The arrogant foreign boxer was about to take off his gloves, but just when the referee counted to 2, the Chinese boxer stood up. He was beaten badly, his face was covered with bruises, and he couldn't even stand steadily. However, at the last second, he stood up. He is a boxer, he can lose, but he will never allow anyone to insult the Chinese people. And the moment he stood up, thunderous applause broke out in the quiet boxing gym. The Chinese boxer looked at Ji Qingli, and when he saw. After trying hard to finish eating and swallowing it, Mo Yuhan curled up the corners of her mouth into a smile and took out a tissue to wipe her mouth. Just destroying all your data would effectively prevent it from leaking. The liar doctor shrugged. The sound was extremely powerful, and a sharp murderous intent filled the entire space, and the sky and the earth suddenly became dim. Emperor Yanwu smiled bitterly and nodded. In fact, he had anticipated this situation when he decided to march west. After Chen Dao left, Zhenju put away his magic sword and sat next to Xu Yifan, looking unhappy. What he saw was a pool of magma. The red magma was rolling, and the terrifying temperature made Chu Yu feel like he was in a furnace. After a while, Li Jianmen heard that Chu Yifan was turned away when he went to visit Yu Fei. He narrowed his eyes slightly, but Nangong Liuli said nothing, just lowered his head and drank tea. After a while, the remaining 5 or 6 staff members came out of the inner room trembling with their hands raised. If you can complete the task and inflict heavy damage on the enemy and kill them at the same time, your military merits will also be accumulated. This is also related to Jiangcheng's style. Although Jiangcheng also accepts advertisements and variety shows, there is always a limit. My peers are so crazy. Holding the 6-colored virtual fire in his hand, hundreds of slender soul tentacles stretched out from behind Xiao Yarn, and a violent soul storm revolved around him at high speed. I will deposit the things in her account at Xingyu Universe Bank. Your name is Wu Shenchen, right? Ling Yu's implication was very clear, that is, she didn't trust Wu Shenchen, and Wu Shenchen didn't mind. If it were him, he would do the same as Ling Yu. At that time, when I saw all this, I suddenly woke up in my heart and realized that I was fighting against unprecedented evil spirits and ghosts, not just playing house with ordinary ghosts. So, if I continue to be so indecisive, I might really have to kneel here tonight. After visiting several caves, Zhao Wuji found that Pan Fu and his men had joined together. There seemed to be dozens of them. Fortunately, the caves were not big and he had the advantage in numbers. Zhao Wuji was not worried at all. He estimated the distance, pulled out the Desert Eagle and fired at Pan Fu. Huang Renxiao saw that Gong Ping was young, had superb skills in cheating, and was courageous and heroic. He really liked this young talent. He wanted to pass on some of his master's skills in using medicine to kill people to Gong Ping, but he was afraid that Gong Ping would abuse it, so he was quite hesitant. The 1,000 Ghost Gates are famous for killing, which means killing by medicine. But Wang Guanzhong is a native of inland China and is under the management of Comrade Zhongmo almost every day, so it is definitely a blessing for him to be able to have dinner with Comrade Zhongmo. Their hopeful look collapsed in an instant, replaced by a bitter smile from the twitching corners of his mouth. The lightning and dark clouds seemed to be like iron filings encountering a magnet, and they rushed towards the phantom of the county magistrate's seal at a rapid speed. Then, the county magistrate's seal, which had been a phantom, suddenly began to project rays of light. Next, I saw dust flying in the street and figures running around. In just a moment, no less than 200 thugs had been beaten to death by me, and they rolled on the ground, wailing and groaning. However, if Ling Xifeng personally led the team here, then it would be the 3 of them who would be wiped out. It was okay to fight against a master in an online game 3v6, but if they really met a professional player from the Fengsu team, fighting 3 against 6 would be simply a fantasy. 0:30 for holding her hand. It's getting late. I'm going back first. You figure it out yourself. Ji Qingli said mercilessly. Pei Xichi grabbed her hand and wouldn't let go. No, I don't like being alone. Ji Qingli was speechless. Let me go. How can you stay calm when you're holding me like this? Isn't the most important thing he should do now to stay away from her? No. He refused quite frankly. Pei Xichi didn't mind at all that she discovered his desire. In fact, he had a strong desire for her. The urge to pounce on her at any time. Isn't this the biggest attraction between men and women? Are you feeling better? He didn't ask her why she felt. Damn it. I thought the enemy wouldn't attack us here, but I didn't expect them to kill all our intelligence ninjas directly. Damn it. Minato slammed the table angrily. Mo Xiang's wrist was also broken, and a strange silver liquid dripped slowly. After just a moment, it slowly healed. But who asked her to ask Wang Jing for help? Besides, Wang Jing had always behaved well and had never caused any trouble for her. In addition, she had a harmonious relationship with Wang Jing, so Lan Mingxian now basically accepted Wang Jing. Like Peach Blossom Fairy, Liu Xian also has a big mouth. The door of Peach Blossom Fairy leads directly to her interior, while the one of Liu Xian is actually used to collect things. At least Xu Mao saw a lot of things. It would be fine if there was no evidence, but now they have been caught red-handed. If they are not punished, it will be difficult to manage the freshmen this year. Song Anran accepted the money and asked Shichuo to tell Zhangji to ask the shop assistants in the south to purchase the goods according to the requirements on the list and to ensure the quality. Xu Mao was in the spirit world, but he was not ready to rest. When he came, he sent a letter to the 3 generations and also sent a letter to Tsunade. The letter to Tsunade might be more important. It contains some relevant. It's just speculation, only time will tell whether these inferences are correct. Wang Jing smiled lightly, walked to the Ferrari with coffee in his hand, and poured the hot coffee on it. Of course, everyone was stunned. On the one hand, it felt very strange that a strange thing suddenly appeared and flew above their heads. On the other hand, after seeing clearly what that thing was, everyone felt its beauty and power. The long-haired man didn't say anything, but the person next to him shouted loudly, took a step forward, and grasped the hilt of the sword. However, Eve often asked him to escort her back to her residence. Wan Kang did not refuse. He had nothing to do, so it was nice to laugh and joke with a pretty girl with big eyes. When Lu Zhui heard what Sun Zhang said, the corners of his mouth twitched slightly, his eyes showed unwillingness, and he tried hard to say something, but he couldn't utter a single word. Normally, where there are bows and arrows, there should also be crossbows. However, archers in the Xinyuan world focus on improving their mental and physical strength rather than improving bows and arrows, so no one has developed a crossbow yet. Yes, brothers were. Yang Yu felt relieved. Although everyone called Xu Yuan's were brothers were, not many people could recognize him. Qin Chuan stood in the cold wind, a little stagnant. He only looked at the obsession barrier in front of him, which was about to attack him and almost kill him, but was blocked. Even though Li Yunfei and Chiang Mai persisted for such a long time, if a cultivator at the peak of the celestial immortal realm came, he would only last half a day at most. The difference in mana between the celestial immortal realm and the Tai Sanxian realm was too great. Okay, let's report our respective situations. Sitting among the crowd, Pa Shui said after taking a look around. A few minutes later, a large number of bombers arrived and began another round of carpet bombing inside the dock, focusing on destroying ground buildings and dilapidated warships and ships that were already riddled with holes. Although the Guangdong-Guangxi campaign belonged to two different battlefields, they were connected along the coast, so they would prosper together and perish together. Zhang Farkue had a heavy burden on his shoulders, and after being away for many days, he was anxious to go back. 035 Ambiguity. It's good to be afraid. Ji Qingli raised the corners of her mouth, but that smile frightened the housekeeper. He didn't sleep well last night. What he did 5 years ago continued to torment him. He was extremely afraid of Ji Qingli's revenge. But does he have to leave the Ji family? He was unwilling to do so. If it weren't for him, and Xinan and Qingyu would never have been able to enter the Ji family smoothly. Now that they are living a good life, they want him to go away, which is absolutely impossible. Ji Qingyu came down and frowned when she saw him. Butler, didn't I tell you? You are old, go back to your hometown and have a good rest. What's going on? And Shin didn't know about this. The butler is indeed old. Xia Ame thought about it and finally couldn't help asking the biggest question in her heart. What is the purpose of my aunt giving me the Qinquan ring? Although alchemists are very popular throughout the Great Jew and have a high status, it is not reasonable for them to be so rich as to give away their jobs to others. I nodded and thought to myself, no matter if I'm bankrupt or in debt, as long as I don't go to jail, it will sound better and it will also be a comfort to Tong Tong. Huang Simmons spoke of these tragic intertwined events in a nonchalant tone. At the end, she told me, Chen Sansan, those people were just getting their comeuppance. Guo Chini was beaten so badly that his face was bruised and his nose was swollen, but he was unable to fight back in front of this powerful man. Such a decision had to be made at the moment, so Gon naturally would not object and gave the order. I saw him lying on the bed as if nothing had happened, and I watched him thinking in his mind when something went wrong and I didn't even notice it. Could it be that it started when 11 disappeared? Some noble families would even let their children who were training outside to catch fish as a training, so apart from mercenary groups and auction houses, there were not many businesses on the market that could sell fish. Listening to this, it would be a lie to say that she didn't dare to move. Amaishia looked at Xiao Hengwei's lips, her eyes gradually moistened. She opened her mouth, wanting to tell him to stop talking, but the sound seemed to be strangled by someone, and no sound came out. Zilan nodded heavily. Anyway, Bai Wuchen said it to the mermaid guarding the gate himself, so the meaning was the same. He went out just to let Xiaoer take the blame, and now Xiaoer was calling him, which was a waste of his careful coaxing. He was so angry that veins on his forehead bulged. It snowed for 5 or 6 days in a row and finally stopped for a while. I dragged Niu and Xiong'er, hoping that they would go out for a walk with me, but no matter how much I persuaded them, they just stayed at the door and refused to go out. She didn't want to conflict with any forces for the time being, especially with the forces among the 10 major sects. As they got closer, I unexpectedly discovered that after surviving a winter, their number had more than doubled. Su Yu's words made Jiangcheng very angry, but now, she was powerless. To put it bluntly, she had become a fish on the chopping board, waiting to be slaughtered. There were 2 cups of tea on the table, one in Zhao Qiju's hand and one on the chair in front of Gandhi. Gandhi sat down without saying anything and took a sip of tea. As the intensity of the exchange of fire in the hall escalated, the place became a mess. It was no longer as simple and neat as before. After the initial head-on confrontation, Ji Shirui's men gradually learned their lesson and began to stop gathering together. Instead, they dispersed to various corners of the hall, waiting for an opportunity to act. For example, a few years ago, there was a lot of hype and the whole world was paying attention to the Mayan prediction that the world would end in 2012. All kinds of evidence were overwhelming, and various media films and experts from various fields all jumped out. Outside the Xingchen sect, there are many spies from the Qianyang sect who want to track the divine condor. You know, except for the unknown third elder who is a master of foundation building, some of the other disciples have not even reached the chi refining stage. 036 Don't flirt with me, otherwise. Pei Xichi's deep phoenix eyes suddenly became dim. Did this little girl do this on purpose? Miss Ji, don't you have a meeting soon? Don't flirt with me, otherwise, even in the car. He is a man with no bottom line. Ji Qingli gave him a look and told him to figure it out for himself. Could he not imagine so much? Ji Qingli was biting on a steamed bun and ignored him. After eating 5 dumplings, Ji Qingli didn't want to eat anymore. She really had no appetite in the morning. Not eating anymore. Pei Xichi frowned. How can her stomach be healthy if she is like this? That's enough. She was not used to eating breakfast in the morning. Pei Xichi. Because a man in black grabbed his neck with his other hand, making him unable to make any sound. Because it was an exam, the seats of the entire class were shuffled. Lin Xian's seat was in the center of the first row of the classroom. For a plagiarist who wanted to cheat, this was probably the worst position. Lin Xian didn't believe that this was a coincidence. It must have been Zhang Haimian's fault. Go away, and don't invade Fishman Island again, otherwise I will kill you. Pan Chen said lightly. So I picked up my phone and called Xiao Diaxia. It was New Year's Eve, the New Year's Eve. We agreed to solve the problem together and welcome the new year, didn't we? Muyan nodded without saying anything. She looked up and saw Jian Feng looking at her. She still glared at him unhappily. At this moment, Ji Gongyang, who was sitting in the carriage, lifted the curtain of the carriage, looked out the window and counted the number of princes, then lowered the curtain of the carriage again, frowned, and sighed. This time, I was no longer the one who was injured. I was still fine, but I actually felt that the road near Mengzi was much more difficult to walk step by step than last time. The hand is clenched into a fist, and the punch is filled with great momentum and spiral domineering power, full of destructive power. Damn, how many? What's the truth? I bought the fruit, so you should at least leave some for me to eat. Why are you chasing me away? Are you bullying me? HMPH. Madame Chu turned away, leaving concubine Song standing there in a daze, not knowing what to do. She couldn't understand why Ji Gongyang did this. After thinking it over, she always felt that it might be possible that he really heard the news of her illness from the doctors in the Imperial Hospital and couldn't help but show concern. Xu Shiyu was not a wooden person, so how could she not feel Lin Zalu's gaze? She had no appetite for the meal and left the table quickly after taking a few bites. If there's nothing else, I'll leave first. Ren Buji glanced at the waning moon setting in the west. Bai Yujing did this very realistically. He had just walked a short distance when he came back. Because of his attire, he told everyone that he was a direct disciple, so all along the way, there were inner and outer disciples who nodded and bowed and greeted him. Even the elite disciples stopped to say hello. Now that they were so far away from the Herwan sect, Yarnzi was not afraid to reveal his identity. It was still her business to decide what to do at that time. Yarnzi still had to go back and rescue Feng Xinyang. Li Minute is a real talent, or even a genius. She is qualified for Qin Zhiyong to invite her personally. However, facing these hundreds of dusk beasts, Shui Li and Xingzhan were at a loss as to what to do. With just a few of them, they probably wouldn't be able to hold out for long. Yi Qian thought they were talking about Jiangcheng's younger brother. Jiangcheng had gone to Yuncheng to look for him before, but the other party seemed unwilling to go home. Xu Rubao saw that he seemed very nervous, afraid that Xia Zima would bully her, and she was a little flattered. Looking for death? Ling Baixua said angrily, then raised her hand and a ray of light shot towards the middle-aged man. Okay, great, I'll remember, I'll come find you again. The old man said, and then flew away in an instant. He was anxious to go back and save people. Zhao Shiran looked at the two people talking in front of him with his eyes widened. How come he didn't know that Xiang Yujun was so familiar with the security guard? If other people knew that Bai Yu worked in a place like this, would he still be able to keep his reputation? That is to say, the people in Zhenju have little influence, and since the princess is there, they can only choose to be obedient. 037 Kiss me and I'll let you go. At this moment, Lin Lin and the others felt that they had followed the right person. No matter what the eldest lady's ability was, she was willing to support them and was so protective of them. Okay, let's start the meeting. Ji Qingli didn't waste any more time and started today's meeting. The project team members began to report their plans and feasibility. The 5 new members are all recent college graduates. They are indeed very talented, but they still lack some experience. Seeing that Ji Qingli had no expression on her face when they were reporting, they were actually very flustered. Lin Lin also heard the problem. Although she had just graduated, she had a lot of experience in college. Although he was very puzzled, he obviously didn't have time to think about it now. Xiao Jun looked at the message sent by Ling Jia for a while, then turned on the engine, stepped on the accelerator and drove away. Tian Yao Yao took out the poison and sprinkled a little on every uncooked dish in the kitchen, so that no matter what Chu Xinyun ate at night, he would definitely taste the poison. Although he is a false god, Lin Yuerong's status as the core legitimate son is far superior to him as an inspector. How dare he disobey her words? The purpose of the fighting hall seemed to have been achieved. As time went by, and with the wake-up call from the fighting hall, people's enthusiasm for ancient martial arts indeed decreased a lot. The most important thing is that Lin Su vaguely felt that the other party should have known his true identity. Yang Qinchang was in a daze at the back. He had lost his memory and just heard others say that he was the regent, but he never took it seriously. Butler Lin seemed very excited, but Chu Ji would not tell him his true thoughts. Sometimes, beautiful misunderstandings can exist. As for the county magistrate here, there is no need for him to stay here any longer. I asked Tan Chen to investigate the county magistrate a long time ago, and now the evidence has been collected. When Dongli saw this scene as soon as she entered the room, her heart skipped a beat. He quickly closed the door. Qin Yuya noticed something else, her face changed, and then she quietly pulled Shimen Qing. The feeling in Xiao Fan's heart became stronger and stronger, and he even felt that the thing was not far away. The next moment, the smile on his face turned cold, like an ice cellar that had been there for thousands of years, and he said coldly, "What's more, if I let you leave, you will retaliate." In order to ensure the latter, any noise in the dark would cause this meticulous and nervous child to react immediately and find ways to eliminate the source of the exposure. Ning Shiqian's stomach swelled up a lot, and he lay on the grass steadily and vomited a few times. She didn't look back, but raised her foot to leave. There are relatively few fields in the mountains and the grain output is very limited. In order to prevent the oxen from stealing grain while grinding rice ears, some villagers put bits on the oxen's mouths. But that was the fact. The god slayer, whom he had clearly avoided, actually came in front of him at this moment, and one of his palms turned into a claw and pierced into his chest. Ji Yu Jing raised his hand. When he stretched out his hand to block the cat just now, he was still caught by the cat's claws. He Qingyu laughed and didn't ask any more questions. He knew that since Changxing didn't say anything, he must have his reasons. Yi Zinan seemed to have been hit a little. He took about 2 minutes to raise his head and opened his mouth, as if he didn't know what to say. The man who walked out of the room was a man dressed as respectably as the furnishings in the room, wearing a suit and tie, but he was hesitant when he walked out of the room. The military's proposed sales price was 250 Chinese yuan per set, while the price they got from the beverage factory was 145 Chinese yuan, meaning they made 105 yuan per set, which was a good profit point. There seemed to be a special aura on this young man, which made him feel fear all the time. Even he, a professional soldier who had already rolled in blood and fire and almost forgotten what fear was, could not resist that kind of fear. 038 This is how to kiss, have you learned it? This kiss lasted for a long time, and he let her go only when he had kissed her enough. This is a kiss, have you learned it? The man's voice was hoarse. The way he looked at her was as if he wanted to tear her apart and eat her. It is undeniable that she was conquered when he kissed her. This man really has such ability. It was just a one-night stand, but he had to make it so serious. And she did not have no reaction to his body at all. Inside the car, the temperature soared. The air was filled with crackling sparks. Jiangcheng has never been a person who would let herself suffer any loss, but this man was teasing her in such a way. If she. For this purpose, he called Hongfang again and got the township government account from her. Only then did he successfully transfer the contract money of 25,000 yuan and successfully took the first step in contracting the fish pond. I'm glad that you like it. I'm just worried that you can't adapt to it. You were injured last time and I couldn't come to see you. I feel really sorry. Rose looked apologetic when she said this. He browsed the forum on his phone and found that no one had posted any paid posts related to the swordsman's special skills in the bounty area. She felt depressed. It seemed that he had to rely on self-reliance. He flew to Israel Island and returned to the swordsman guild he had been away from for a long time. Then, his body was seen hitting the ancient tree hard, and his body slid down the tree to the ground little by little, vomiting blood. Well, is it the wind attribute this time? Although the sound of the arrow was suppressed to the lowest level by the wind attribute, it was still useless in the face of Lian's enhanced hearing. At this time, the rest of the people were stunned. Seeing such an exciting scene, how could they concentrate on playing the game? They just stood there stupidly waiting for Liang Rong's order. How does the emperor intend to respond? Shen Baisen understood that since the emperor had spoken, he was already moved. Her brother inherited the title of duke, but he had no power. No matter how he managed, he could only make Ruan. My father-in-law turned a blind eye to me, and even without my help, eunuch Ruan no longer treated me as a human being. But why should it be decided? One day, Yilin finally realized that she chose not to be decided, and she chose to go her own way. At this time, all the boys held their breath, obviously very nervous. If there were photos, it would be clear at a glance whether what he said was true or false. Seeing Mo Xiuqin like this, not only Wen Ran, but even a grown man like Qin Mu felt uncomfortable and his eyes became sore. The figure didn't say anything. He was filled with resentment and hatred, and of course he didn't want to live his whole life hiding his identity, and living in the dark all his life. Since Yu has already made arrangements, let's follow her wishes and let those children come over to take the elixir as soon as possible to cleanse their bones and marrow. The head of the Sang family was calmer, but also quite excited. During the few days when Mo Xiuqin was away on business, Qing Yang and Qing Feng would pick Wen Ran up and drop her off at work. When Ji Yukai had time, he would also go to the company to pick her up. The two of them had their arms crossed together, and they wanted to drink it all in one gulp, so their bodies naturally moved closer together, and the wine had just entered their mouths but had not yet been swallowed. Why are you in such a hurry? Zhu Yunmai said, her eyes fixed on Xu He, and there seemed to be some doubt in her eyes about Xu He's intentions. This is of course because of the immortal cauldron in Ling Han's body. Its level is far beyond that of the golden immortal cauldron. If the realms are similar, anyone will be affected. Everyone could hear the conversation outside, so they were prepared and did not panic. However, when they kicked open the sixth room, Ding Xiaoqin's face was full of resentment. He was too innocent. He was an enemy of Ling Han, but he was implicated because of Ling Han and died unjustly. Looking at Rimu who was motionless in the seal, Lin Xiu sighed lightly, then stretched out his sinful hands, untied Rimu's clothes, and untied her breast wrap one circle at a time. A new film is currently in the public release stage, with a cumulative box office revenue of 12 million in half a month. After going through a set of release procedures, it is estimated that it will have a box office of 20 million and a profit of at least 10 million, which is pretty good. 039 I will definitely feed you. But the others were still worried, but with Boshan around, if anything really went wrong, it would not be their business. Ji Qingli's beautiful fingers danced on the keyboard, inputting strings of codes. There wasn't even any expression on the little girl's face. Self-destruct system deactivated. It's amazing. This little girl looks only about 18 or 19 years old, how could she be so powerful? People who don't know the subject don't know, but they are computer experts. How could I not understand how amazing this little girl is? Boss Shen, who is she? Where did you invite her from? Master, how can she be so powerful? Seriously, their memories are extremely long. These void people are no longer considered human because their bodies have been eroded by the power of nothingness, but they have also gained a long lifespan. There was no difficulty at all. After opening their first door, the body strengthened by the first generation cells could only feel the power surging up. He withdrew most of the soldiers and only left a medium regiment of sentries on the city wall to guard against the remaining orcs. After more than half a month of alert, Stratholm returned to peace. Arriving at the reception room, Yuanjin and the other sat down. Xingju whispered something to the servant, who went out and returned a moment later, followed by four middle-aged men. However, even so, they did not follow the captain's choice rashly, but all remained silent. What is this? Master Yang Ling looked up curiously for a while, then his expression froze and he looked suddenly into the distance. A figure covered in red light was approaching rapidly. It just so happens that I like this sword very much. Why not take it as an apology for offending me? Jiang Mo had a playful smile on his face. Since you are looking for humiliation, then I will grant your wish. Jiang Mo looked at Mo Wuji who was rushing towards him. He took a deep breath and mobilized all the energy in his sea of qi. He looked straight ahead, is calm and composed, has no arrogance, and does not laugh. It is hard to imagine that he is just a 10-year-old child. However, what disappointed Chu Yun was that the people in the underground exchange didn't even know where Beiliuhu was now. A dark continent was floating in the sky, with numerous mountains on it. From the outside to the inside, the mountains became higher and higher, like thorns rising from the ground, which was extremely spectacular. Ling Yu sneered, and when the water monster was smacking its lips, Ling Yu flew on his sword and rushed over in an instant. Talia mechanically stretched out her hand slowly and hugged the cowherd after a long time. Perhaps for her, who had just walked out of hell, this way of expressing affection was too unfamiliar. Qian Ermiao's performance made those who wanted to attack Qian Ermiao restrain their thoughts. For a moment, all the gods and demons fell silent, not knowing that they were just overthinking, as Laozi had not yet been born. Inside the courtyard, another old man in a green robe sighed softly. This man did not seem to have a very strong aura, but his body was between reality and illusion, as elusive as a breeze. If Zhu Qinshueshan had not told him that unless it was absolutely necessary, he should never show up and let Dao Yu know that he had been protecting him in secret. He couldn't let Zhang Wei destroy Baidi City like this, and he couldn't let those powerful people laugh at Baidi City. He was very unwilling in his heart. He glanced at Qinglian beside him and shouted. Liu Ruolai's true self slowly woke up. She lay on the ground and opened her eyes with difficulty. What she saw was Qin Jun's resolute back. The young man was none other than Chen Sanhai, the Chen clan's #1 genius, the one who topped the Earth ranking and was known as a drop in the ocean. Sun Shi's internal injuries were not serious. Although he vomited blood after being beaten, Lao Ju did not use his internal energy to damage his internal organs. The vomiting blood was only caused by concussion and was nothing serious. However, when she thought of Huang Xiaohua's words and that somewhat cold voice, her heart ached involuntarily. Her delicate body trembled slightly. She let out a long sigh, and her figure moved and instantly disappeared into the night sky. Zhang Kuang laughed loudly. Even though this giant corpse-eating python was extremely strange and had now turned into a half-dragon body with half a meat bag on its head and a white snake body covered with fine and tough scales, it would be a bit of an underestimation of him to think that he could intimidate Zhang Kuang with just his gaze. 040 The voice is bewitching. Ji Qingli was too lazy to struggle, mainly because she had no strength left at the moment. Pei Xichi has many cars in the imperial capital, and the one he drove here today is a red KN. He carried the girl to the side of the car, held her with one hand, and quickly opened the door with the other. He placed her safely in the passenger seat. Then he closed the door and got in the car. He really didn't want to pay attention to Chen Yu who was following behind him. Pei Xichi, I'm going to have dinner with Chen Yu tonight. I have already agreed to it, it would not be nice to go back on my word. Follow me. Pei Xichi didn't say much, he just rolled down the car window and spoke to Chen Yu outside. After that, the car. Suddenly the sound of iron hooves shook the earth. Luo Ran and Yu Zhongqi were in the front, followed by 9 generals. Although there were not many of them, they were extremely powerful. With swords and spears in hand and their horses neighing, they ran straight out of the camp and disappeared in a cloud of dust. If I were like this, how could you and I talk here now? Xie Yunkang snorted proudly. He thanked a desperate man. Wang Fangfang's words about understanding the laws of the universe spread to every corner of the world along with the boiling news. Those who are new to the world are all ignorant, but these old foxes who have been hanging around for a long time, were all shocked when they learned about this disappearance. Although hummingbirds are smart, they fly very slowly and have a narrow field of vision, so it will take some time to find Savi. So next, they can only keep moving forward. He looked around for a while before running to the 2 large travel bags and took them together. Captain Li, are the lives of the soldiers guaranteed by the country? Why didn't the troops inform us about what's going on? What's the point of asking everyone to carry out the mission? Hutchison suddenly had a sense of mission. There were tables and chairs, with a few stone hammers placed on the table, and a man in ancient costume sitting on a chair with his back against them. The sound just now really made Wan Ziyan feel nauseous. The goosebumps on his back caused his scalp to tingle, and it took a long time for his scalp to go away. You actually possess authentic Taoist magic power. Did you devour the old man's soul and gain his power? Feng Yi asked coldly. I can't afford to offend these people, so I just admit my mistakes and leave. What's the matter? You are not satisfied with scolding them, are you going to humiliate me? She just thought that the poverty and chaos in Dhe today were all because the old villain Lin Xiu had stolen the power of the country, causing the local warlords to become jealous and leading to instability in the people's hearts. Lian Xing's protective golden light emerged in an instant, blocking the erosion of the poisonous gas. Akai was also surrounded by black clouds, but the 2 people below did not seem to be afraid of the poisonous gas and still attacked them indiscriminately. Her actions did not escape Bai Ling's handsome eyes. Seeing her slightly flushed cheeks, she was still trying her best to hide her panic, and her eyes deliberately avoided him, but she still glanced at him vaguely, as if testing whether he had noticed. Xu Huo was taken away by Lei Yang and handed over to other people for treatment. He was seriously injured, but fortunately his life was not in danger. Although everyone has a gossipy heart, including Yang Chong himself, but these things are obviously not what Yang Chong needs to consider. To be more precise, there is no need to consider them in a hurry. Gentlemen, please give me the best medicine and don't save it. The injured here are all my brothers. Gentlemen, thank you for your hard work. I will double the amount of precious gold when the time comes. Liu Yu also said to the doctors in the camp. They were overjoyed when they heard it and didn't even dare to say it. Bai Ling was trying to calm the nausea in his stomach. The zombie had been stuck in the room for a whole day, and in such a hot late summer, the stench was enough to make people faint. It was the first time that Lin Yu heard her speak, but her voice was as cold as an icicle, making people shudder. This time, the spacecraft revealed its true form, showing a shocking appearance. When the onlookers saw the appearance of the spacecraft, they wished they were the captain or crew member driving the spacecraft.